Good evening, everyone. This is Steve Lookner with Right Side Broadcasting. This is our coverage of the election results from the Alabama Senate runoff election featuring Luther Strange, the current senator, and Roy Moore, the challenger. I am Steve Lookner. We will be with you tonight. We're going to cover the election results. Right now it is Alabama time. It's 6:16. Alabama's on Central Time, at least. Well, is all of Alabama on Central Time? I don't think all of Alabama is. I'm not even sure about this. But anyways, what I do know is that where I am, it's Central Time, and that a lot of Alabama is on Central Time, and the polls close at 7 p.m. Central Time. So the polls will close in about 43 minutes from now. I have heard that Joe just texted me, all of Alabama is on Central Time except for the extreme most eastern part of the state. Only a sliver is on Eastern. Thank you, Joe. So, and I have heard that we're supposed to maybe get results in as soon as like 15 minutes after the polls close. I'm also guessing once we get to 8 p.m. Eastern, we'll have some exit polls. That's usually the way it goes. But you know what? We're going to be watching. We're going to be covering this. Look, I already have my election results screen up. There's no votes in yet. But after 8 p.m., that's when the votes will start to be counted, because 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central is when the polls close. So we're going to be with you covering this. We're happy to have you with us tonight. Thank you to all the moderators for being in the chat room. And who do I see there? I see Roger Vega's there moderating, JC. And they're there now. I'm sure we'll have others. And the moderators on the website, too. Very much appreciated. Real Frank is there. And also, you know, during the pre-show, well, this isn't the pre-show. This is really the coverage. But during the entire coverage, would love to hear from you. Who do you think is going to win? Is Roy Moore going to win? Or is Luther Strange going to win? For those of you who don't know, see up there? That up there is Luther Strange. And that's Roy Moore. And he's the current senator. He was the attorney general until Jeff Sessions left to he was the state attorney general, and Jeff Sessions left to be U.S. attorney general. And then the current governor appointed Luther Strange. And Roy Moore used to be the Supreme Court Chief Justice a couple of different times. He was Supreme Court Chief Justice in Alabama. And Roy Moore, he's been the subject of some controversy because back, I believe it was 2003, but the first time he was Supreme Court Justice, Chief Justice of the Supreme Court in Alabama, he defied a court order to remove a tablet of the Ten Commandments from the front of the state judiciary building. He wouldn't do it. And I believe he ended up that time getting thrown out as Supreme Court Justice. I think it's that one time he was thrown out and one time he left. I think the last time, a couple of years ago, is the time he stepped down as Supreme Court Justice. And that time he defied another court order. Well, the controversy is that in 2015 there was that Supreme Court law that was passed, that a Supreme Court decision that said gay marriage is legal in all of the U.S., all 50 states, and Roy Moore, instructed some judges in Alabama to not cooperate with that law. And there was a controversy. And if I'm remembering right, I might have the details wrong. If I'm remembering right, he was on the way to getting impeached and he ended up stepping down. So anyways, he's been the subject of some controversy, Roy Moore. And, but he's running, he's ahead in the polls. So Roy Moore on the left there, he is ahead of the polls, at least coming into this. The polls have been a bit varied. I've seen polls with Roy Moore up by 8. I've heard of polls where he's up by more, but I've also heard of polls where he's up by less. I think in the original election. So in the original primary election, that was I think a couple months ago. No one got 50%. That's why there's a runoff tonight between the two Republicans who got the most. Roy Moore finished first and Luther Strange finished second. The winner tonight will go on in November to face the Democrat, but the Democrat will be a huge underdog. It's expected that whoever wins tonight will eventually become the senator from Alabama in November when that election happens. So it's not the election for senator tonight, it's the Republican primary, but it's highly likely whoever wins tonight will be the next senator from Alabama. So I have some more stuff to talk about here, but I'd like to get your messages if you have any. So write to me on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner. Let me know what you're thinking about this election. Who do you think will win? Do you think Roy Moore will win and take the seat away from Luther Strange? Luther Strange is seen as more of the establishment candidate. He is the candidate. Lots of money has been pouring into the state for Luther Strange. The spending on Luther Strange is way more in the state than Roy Moore. A lot of the establishment money has been coming in recent days for Luther Strange. I actually, I live in Alabama, and I've seen a number of ads in the last couple of days on TV for Strange. I don't recall seeing any for Roy Moore. So there's definitely a lot of money being spent for Luther Strange. President Trump, of course, endorsed Luther Strange. He was here last week at a rally for Luther Strange. Mike Pence has been in Alabama supporting Luther Strange. But Luther Strange, it's weird because Luther Strange is seen as the more establishment candidate, and Roy Moore is seen as more of like the non-establishment candidate, which you might think would be more like Trump. But President Trump is endorsing Luther Strange, perhaps because he thinks Luther Strange if you have Luther Strange, he's more likely to go along with like McConnell and the other establishment Republicans, and that might make it easier for President Trump to get legislation passed. But Roy Moore, he's definitely seen as more of a social conservative than Luther Strange is. Not that Luther Strange isn't conservative, but Roy Moore is seen as a pretty staunch social conservative, and he is not seen as establishment. And it's seen as, I guess the general sense is if Roy Moore wins instead of Luther Strange, that might be worse for President Trump getting legislation passed. But we can talk about that more. Anyways, and also, just on this point of, in a way, doesn't Roy Moore seem kind of similar to Trump in that he's not the establishment candidate? Steve Bannon, a lot of you probably know this, was it last night or 2 nights ago? I can't remember. Maybe it was last night, where there was a Roy Moore rally and Steve Bannon was at the rally. And at the rally, if I'm right, I believe Steve Bannon said something like, look, we're actually supporting President Trump by supporting Roy Moore. Anyways, so it'll be interesting to see, did President Trump's visit and Mike Pence's visit, did their endorsements of Luther Strange help Luther Strange make up that polling gap and help Luther Strange win tonight? Or is it going to be Roy Moore? What's going to happen? Let me know what you think. Write to me on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner. We have a message here. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to thank, before I get to your messages, somebody already made a donation. Jerry OOOG made a donation. Thank you, Jerry, and said RSBN Live coverage rocks. Thank you, Jerry. So a lot of you know this, but for those, some of you might be watching RSBN for the first time. You might not know. It might look like we're all fancy here. We actually are a very small organization. We can't even afford to advertise, and we are viewer supported. So if you like our coverage, if you like that you have somewhere to go tonight, that's not CNN or MSNBC or even Fox News, to watch this coverage. If you like that you have somewhere to go to watch this coverage that doesn't have an agenda, and also a place that's going to listen to your comments and take your comments on the air, please consider donating, because we can only be on the air thanks to your donations. So if you'd like to donate, you can go to the YouTube chat room and click on the $sign at the bottom of the chat room. It's right next to the broadcast on YouTube. There's a chat room. Go to the bottom, click on the $sign. Or you can go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. And hello also, in addition to YouTube, everybody watching on Facebook, how are you? Please feel free to share this video. And don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube. And click the notifications bell when you do, so you get notified when we're coming on the air with breaking news videos. We did a lot of videos today about the news. This morning, spent a few hours, I think, at least a couple hours, covering the college basketball arrests. We covered President Trump's press conference today. We covered Saudi Arabia allowing women to drive. We covered the announcement that Bob Corker is not going to run for re-election. So we've been on the air all day covering news with different videos. If you want to know about our videos, subscribe to us on YouTube. Sorry, I just have to check my text to make out, that's fine. Whenever I get a text, I got to check it out just to make sure there's not some emergency going on. But with the broadcast, but we're good right now. Joe is producing, doing his usual great job producing. And we might even be on Twitch tonight. I'm not sure. If we're on Twitch tonight, hello to everybody on Twitch. Okay, I want to get to some of your messages. Write to me. Who do you think is going to win? What do you think is going to happen tonight? At Lookner on Twitter. Give me a shout. JC, one of our moderators, writes, and Steve, I say Moore will win, and I also think the president endorsed Strange in a chess move. But I still love how the president said he will support either person 100%. Yeah, President Trump at the rally for Luther Strange a few nights ago did say that if Roy Moore wins tonight, President Trump will support Roy Moore. So he didn't want to. It sounded like he wanted to make nice and not have it be awkward if Roy Moore won. But at the same time, he definitely endorses Luther Strange. Let me show you. So just this morning, you can see from President Trump's Twitter feed, he tweeted out, "Alabama, get out and vote for Luther Strange. He has proven to me that he will never let you down. #MAGA." So President Trump has been supportive. He's tweeted out a number of times over the last few weeks in support of Luther Strange. On the other hand, though, we talked about how, some people who like Trump also like Roy Moore better. So Sebastian Gorka, he was a White House advisor for President Trump until a few weeks ago. He tweeted out, "Judge Moore is the MAGA choice. Luther Strange is a swamp dweller appointed by a corrupt governor. Alabamians will do the right thing." And then Sarah Palin, normally there's a lot of crossover between Sarah Palin voters and President Trump voters. Not that they're all the same, but there's crossover there. She's supporting Roy Moore too. She was at the rally last night. Was it last night? I know she's been here in the last couple days for Roy Moore. It might have not been at the rally last night, but she was here in Alabama recently. But she says, "Alabama, we need you to get out, It says get our, but she meant get out and vote for Judge Roy Moore tomorrow." So this was yesterday from Sarah Palin. Okay, let me get to some more of your comments. Fit to be Tied says yes, Valley, Alabama is on Eastern time, and that's just about it, really. Yes, most of Alabama is on Central time, and the polls close at 7 p.m. Central time. That's 32 minutes from now. And then soon we will see the votes. We'll see this vote count start filling up right there. Now it's at 0-0. What will happen? What will happen tonight? Interested to see. But you tell me what you think. I'd love to hear your predictions. Write to me at @Lookner. Let's see. Obfuscate Clearly writes to me, "I believe Trump revealed in Alabama speech that Luther Strange was lied about and is candidate who will win in general." So you think, Obfuscate Clearly, that President Trump will win tonight. That President Trump's candidate, Luther Strange, will win tonight. So we'll have to see. Oh, I want to show you something interesting that I saw. This was in Politico, actually. And this article was 5 things to watch in Alabama Senate election. But there was one section here I thought was particularly interesting about how the vote's going to go tonight. And the section says, "Can Strange swing the big counties?" I just want to read this short section to you. It says, Moore won 39% of the vote to Strange's 33% in the August primary, triggering Tuesday's runoff. The former judge took first place in the first round by piling up big margins in Alabama's least populated counties, and he won the majority of counties overall, with 2 key exceptions: Jefferson County, where Birmingham is located, and Madison County, a stronghold of supporters of Representative Mo Brooks around Huntsville. If Strange is to make up his deficit against Moore, he has to run up the score in those big counties and outweigh Moore's support in rural Alabama. That means winning Jefferson County, the biggest county in the state, by even more than he did in August, as well as capturing more voters in Brooks territory now that he is out of the race. Brooks was a big critic of Strange and McConnell before the August primary and has endorsed Moore. But Trump went to Huntsville last week to rally for Strange, hoping his endorsement will carry more weight with GOP voters still choosing a candidate. If Madison goes for Moore, it's lights out, said Alabama Republican strategist Jonathan Gray. So apparently, it's very important that for Strange, if he wants to win, that he really runs up his lead in Jefferson County, and that's the largest county in Alabama, and that's where Birmingham is located. But Madison is very important too, because a lot of people in Madison had voted for Mo Brooks. I think Mo Brooks came in 3rd place in the primary election, so Mo Brooks can't run in the runoff. But where do his voters go? That's the question. That's a question, an important question. Where do the Mo Brooks voters go after now? I wonder how did Mo Brooks do I want to look up Alabama primary results. Mo Brooks. How many percent did he get? Mo Brooks got around 20%, 19.7%. So that was 20% of that primary vote about, and that's got to go somewhere if those people vote tonight. And Mo Brooks has endorsed, as we see in the Politico articles, he has endorsed Roy Moore. But we'll see what happens. Maybe President Trump's endorsement will carry a lot of weight. Also, a big question I've heard about is turnout. I read a prediction yesterday from a local journalist, if I'm remembering right, that said that journalist thought that the turnout was going to be around 15%, which is not very high. But maybe it'll be surprising. I went to vote today in this election because I live in Alabama, and I said to the election workers, how's it been here today? How's business? And they said, well, it's really good. They said a lot of people have been turning out, so maybe turnout will be higher than expected. I don't know who that helps, but shortly we will see the votes come in, and we'll see who wins. That's going to be 28 minutes from now. The polls close. You're watching Right Side Broadcasting's live coverage tonight. Live coverage of the Alabama Senate runoff election. We have Luther Strange, the current senator who was appointed to take Jeff Sessions' seat when Jeff Sessions took over as Attorney General. And we have Roy Moore, who's been the Chief Justice a couple of times of the Alabama State Supreme Court. And he's the challenger. But Roy Moore did better in the primary than Luther Strange did. I think he won 39-33. We just read that. So now it's just them two. They're running off in this Republican runoff election. Whoever wins will face the Democrat and be the heavy favorite to be the next or still senator from Alabama. And we're going to be covering this tonight. We're going to be bringing you live election results, and we're also going to be taking your comments. So if during the broadcast you have a thought on who's going to win, or a thought on the election, or just a thought on either the candidates or anything like that, write to me on Twitter. I'm happy to read your comment on the air, at Lookner, at Lookner. Also, don't forget, follow Right Side on Twitter, Right Side Broadcasting, at RSB Network. And we got a donation. That's so nice. Elizabeth Luker gave $30. That's very nice of you, Elizabeth. She says, last night's rally was outstanding. Bannon, Nigel Farage, Phil Robertson, and Ciaran Stacey. Besides those, Hannity, Ingram, Levine, Palin, Carson, Gorka support him. I could name dozens other. We cannot be bought. Hashtag Roy Moore. So Elizabeth is supporting Roy Moore. Also, Elizabeth, thank you for your donation. That's really nice of you. We are viewer supported here. We can't stay on the air without your donations. You make it possible for us to stay on the air. So if you enjoy our coverage, if you enjoy having this option to watch your election coverage and you don't have to watch the mainstream media, please consider making a donation. You can do what Elizabeth did. Just go to the YouTube chat and click on the $sign at the bottom of the YouTube chat. Even small donations. We've often said if everybody who watched just gave $1 at some point, we would be fine. We could stay on the air indefinitely. That's the truth. That really is true. So you can do that. You can also do that. You can also donate by going to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. And we're small. We can't afford advertising. But if you like our videos, we love if you can share our video on Facebook and like it on YouTube. You may not know this, but the more likes you get on YouTube, the more they say, hey, people like this video, so we should recommend it to other people. So just liking our video on YouTube or sharing it on Facebook, that helps spread the word about us. So we really like that. And I forgot one more thing. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube and click the notifications bell so you know about all of our breaking news videos, our live coverage videos like this one. You'll get a notification about it when we come on the air. All right, I want to get to some more of your messages if there are any here. Let me do a check here. Justin Lagrange says, the winner will finish Sessions' term, right? How long is that term? This is a good question. When was Sessions, well, I can look this up. Jeff Sessions, I mean, if I look up on Wikipedia, it'll tell us when he was elected. He was Senator, U.S. Senate. It shouldn't be that hard. 2002, 2014. Yeah, so he was elected in 2014, so his term goes to 2020. I am assuming that the length of the term goes along with the seat because the terms in the Senate are staggered. You have roughly a third of the senators up for re-election every 2 years. So my assumption would be whoever wins tonight finishes out Sessions' term, and that ends in at the end of 2020. It's a good question. That's my assumption. Deplorable Alfredo says, who did you vote for? I personally don't like to say who I voted for on the air, because we don't have an agenda here. And, I'd rather just cover the news without an agenda, and I don't want to influence anybody anyway, or even, I feel like I can cover the news either way. Now, I wanted to vote, so I got to vote for one of them. I didn't want to, I guess I could have done a write-in candidate, but I got to vote for one of them. But I feel more comfortable not even saying it, because my job here is to be agenda-free and to give you balanced coverage of this election, so that's what I'm going to do. Rocky Sanchez writes in, Alabama more will support Trump's agenda to MAGA. Strange will be a yes man for Rhino McConnell, and we need to drain the infected swamp. So, Rocky, you think that if Moore wins, Moore actually will support President Trump's agenda. Okay. Thomas says, hey, Steve, I agree. Moore will win. The polls show it. Now, I didn't say Moore will win, but I did say Moore has been ahead in the polls. Justin LaGrange, he says, thanks for answering my question, but I pronounced my name is LaGrange, like the song from ZZ Top. I know the song from ZZ Top is named LaGrange, but I don't know how it's pronounced. I'll assume you mean it's LaGrange. Thomas says, hey, Steve, how come you did not cover the shooting in North Korea? Well, it was a very busy day today. There was the last I heard, there was a soldier in South Korea who was shot, a South Korean soldier, but it wasn't clear if he was shot by North Korean forces or it was a suicide or an accident. And we were so busy today that I at some point needed to take a break and go eat. So we really just didn't have time for it today. That's the honest answer as to why we didn't cover it. Oh, Fit to be Tied says, the background looks great. Thank you. This is our special election background. The last time we used this was the election. Oh, see all these names. Was it the Georgia election? I can't remember. I think it was the Georgia special election about like 4 months ago or something. No, it wasn't Georgia. It was the other one. Montana special election. That's what it was. That's what it was. That was in May. That was Gianforte won. Greg Gianforte won the special election. We used this for that. We only bring it out for the elections. I guess we could bring it out like for inauguration or other special Capitol Hill events, but it sits and it waits for us to bring it out. But tonight we brought it out for you. So we love this. Joe actually found this background, and we love it. But we're not going to overdo it with the background. It only comes out when it's right for it to come out. Okay, we have about 20 minutes here. 20 minutes until the polls are closing. 21 minutes until the polls close in Alabama, and we start getting votes in. It'll stop being zero. See, it's zero now. It's zero, but it's going to stop being zero. We're going to get votes in. So we look forward to that. And right now, we're taking your comments, and as I mentioned earlier, it might take a few minutes for the votes to start coming in, but we might even get exit polls at the top of the hour. So I'll let you know as soon as I hear stuff. I will let you know. And hopefully we'll get like some kind of victory speech from the winner. When that happens, we will try to bring that to you, definitely. So stick around tonight. We're going to be covering this election for you. And don't forget, you can always write in and give your comments about this election. Who do you think is going to win? I want to hear more predictions. Do you think it'll be Moore or do you think it'll be Strange? Write to me on Twitter @Lookner. Let me know what you think. Now I'm going to do a quick check here and see if there's any little updates about this. I'm checking my news sources here to see if there are any updates about the election happened in the last few minutes. Let's see what I can find, if anything. But it was by the way, there was a lot of I'm going to try to show you this. There was a lot of publicity because Roy Moore pulled out a gun at his rally. I think it was last night. Here's a tweet from Politico. You'll see. At a rally, Alabama Senate candidate Roy Moore pulled a gun out of his pocket to show his support for the Second Amendment. Are we going to see it? Oh, we might see it right here. There we go. So that happened. That got a lot of press. And I know some of you joined the broadcast a little later, so just to sum up, just to give you a basic summary of what's going on tonight, Alabama is having a special Senate election to replace Jeff Sessions. Jeff Sessions became the Attorney General, so his seat was vacated. And in the primary, which was in August, if I'm getting that right, there was a Republican primary and a Democratic primary. In the Republican primary, no one got 50%. So the top two candidates in that primary election, who are Roy Moore, who got 39%, and Luther Strange, who got 33%, they are running off tonight. And the winner will face the Democrat. Is it Abbott? Is Abbott the Democrat? Alabama Democrat. Let's see if I got that right. Maybe I didn't. We have, Doug Jones. I'm sorry, it's Doug Jones. Doug Jones won the Democratic primary. I was way off on that. Doug Jones won the Democratic primary. And right now Alabama is choosing tonight who will face Doug Jones in November in the election. But whoever wins the Republican primary runoff tonight is expected to be the strong favorite. Will be the strong favorite in November and is expected to be the next senator from Alabama. Luther Strange is the current senator over here. He was appointed as the interim senator when Jeff Sessions took over as the Attorney General and vacated his Senate seat. And Luther Strange is endorsed by President Trump. President Trump has done a rally here for just a couple days ago for Luther Strange. He also has sent out a number of tweets like this one in support of Luther Strange. So President Trump is casting his vote, his endorsement vote, with Luther Strange. But Roy Moore, a lot of Trump voters like Roy Moore. Because Luther Strange is considered to be the more establishment of the two candidates. Mitch McConnell and establishment Republicans support Strange. A lot of establishment money, a ton of establishment money. I read some figure like $7 million had come in to the state from outside. I don't know if that's from outside or just total for Luther Strange. And I'd also read that the spending on Strange was spending on Strange was outpacing that of Roy Moore by like 5 times the amount. So a lot of establishment money has come in recent days for Luther Strange. As I mentioned before, I've been seeing Luther Strange ads on TV. I haven't seen any Roy Moore ads on TV. Not that they're not there, I just haven't seen them. So Luther Strange is really seen as the establishment candidate, but Roy Moore, is seen as he's definitely a big social conservative, controversial as the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. He was a Chief Justice of the Supreme Court a couple times in Alabama. One time, he ended up having, I think he got kicked off out of that position because of he would not follow a judge's order to remove a 10 Commandments tablet from in front of the state judiciary building. The second time he was Chief Justice of the Supreme Court in Alabama, he ended up stepping down after a controversy because he was refusing to enforce the 2015 Supreme Court. Well, he was telling judges not to enforce the 2015 United States Supreme Court ruling which legalized gay marriage in all 50 states. So he's a big social conservative. He's seen as anti-establishment. And traditional wisdom says President Trump wants Luther Strange because Luther Strange would vote along with McConnell and establishment Republicans, and that would help President Trump get his agenda through Congress, whereas Roy Moore might not help as much at least. But we'll see what happens. It's possible even if Roy Moore wins, maybe he'll vote with President Trump a lot. One of the viewers thought that. So we'll have to see what happens. And also, as I said before, Roy Moore has been leading in the polls. There was an interesting point in this Politico article I wanted to talk about the polls. Let's see if I can find it here. It says, this is the article from Politico, and it says, the battle of the polls. Virtually every public poll, even including one released by the Senate Leadership Fund, has shown Moore ahead of Strange. I'm not personally aware of a single poll that shows Lookner ahead, said Republican strategist Blake Harris. Yet the margins have varied widely. And the Senate Leadership Fund and other groups have continued investing in the primary based on their own polling showing a much, much closer contest. The advertising advantage for Strange, Trump's visit to Alabama last week, and Vice President Mike Pence's appearance on Monday could help tip the balance to Strange if things have been indeed very close. Special elections and primaries can be especially volatile, and this is the latest public test for a polling industry that has more trouble than ever getting election results right. So we have 13 minutes until the polls close, just 13 minutes. We're at Right Side Broadcasting. We're covering this election live for you. We're going to have results as soon as they come in. They'll come in, we'll show them, look, we'll show the numbers. They're zero now. They won't be zero for that long. We might even get exit polls in before the results, so we'll give those to you too. So, but also we're taking your comments here. We want to hear who you think's going to win. Do you agree with President Trump endorsing Lookner Strange? Do you think he should have endorsed Lookner Strange? Give me a shout on Twitter, at Lookner, at Lookner. Let me know what you think. I'll read your comment on the air, as long as it's clean. Let's see. OK Convince Me says he or she heard that $30 million was spent on Strange, $3 million on Roy Moore. And the $7 million figure I saw might have been like the last week or something like that. Let me see if I can get a hard number there. Money spent on Strange and Moore. I'm seeing here, as of September 6th, Strange had raised $3.9 million and spent $4.1 million. Moore's campaign had raised $1.4 million and spent $1.1 million, but that's a couple weeks ago. So a lot has been spent in the last few weeks too. But definitely the Strange spending has been more than the Moore spending. Let's see here. Jeremy Miller writes in, Moore's win will be a clear message of no confidence in the leadership of McConnell. Trump's endorsement is only showing teamwork. James Stevens writes in, Moore will win partly due to the NFL knee controversy, which will bring out patriotic voters. That's interesting, James. I hadn't heard that talked about before. Will that NFL knee controversy bring out any more voters in a certain type of voter to this election? Don't know. You think it'll help Moore? Isaac Barry writes in, I want Strange, but I think Moore will win. Buzzy Ann writes, Steve, in my opinion, McConnell is taking a big hit on health care. If Lookner Strange loses, it's another huge hit versus Mitch McConnell. Andrew Bond writes in, I think Moore wins, but I think that it hurts Congress. It makes it more polarized, the Republican caucus, which will cause less getting done. Jim Builds writes, Moore will win and Trump will immediately praise him. Thomas says, hey, Steve, I think you should run for Senate. I don't think so. I don't have enough money. Polybius says Moore takes it. So I'm hearing lots of people predict Moore. No one's predicted Strange yet. Who's written in? Boog Rowe says, hi, Steve. I feel Trump wins either way because both Moore and Strange will support Trump's agenda. And here is a bit of trivia for you. The word LaGrange by ZZ Top means the farm, and it is French. I used to live in LaGrange. LOL. Thank you, Boog. Fit to be Tied says, at another event, I think Moore pulled his wife's gun from her purse too. Jeffrey Williams says, are there any more special elections this year? Not that I'm aware of, although technically in November, the Alabama election is still the special election. So, but aside from Alabama, I think they're all done for this year. Mason Kothelt writes in, either way, this runoff is going to be close. Maybe even a recount needed. I like Strange, but Moore might take this one. So you think, Mason, it's going to be closer than some of the polls have indicated. Terry says, if polling is accurate, expect a short night. Counties Strange needs to win to have a chance are the first to report. Well, we will see. 9 minutes, under 9 minutes until the polls close. Let's see. Here's a tweet I'm going to show you from Caitlin Collins. And she says, polls close here in Alabama in about 10 minutes, so it's now about 8 minutes. Alabama Secretary of State John Merrill projected a 12 to 15% turnout earlier today. So, when the turnout's not that big, that just means, a small surge can really affect the election. So, who knows? Maybe one candidate or the other will have a surge today, an unexpected surge, and that'll really affect things. If you want to get any comments in before the polls close, you can comment after the polls close too, but if you want to get any comments in before, write to me on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner. Thanks to everybody who's written in so far. Also, we are Right Side Broadcasting. We are agenda-free news coverage. We don't tell you what to think. We don't sit and yell all the time. We just cover the news. We give you the information. We let you decide what to think about it. And we read your comments, no matter what your views are. So, as long as they're clean. But if you like that kind of coverage, we are viewer supported. We rely on you to stay on the air. We don't take money from big donors who are going to control what we have to say. Your donations keep us on the air. So if you do enjoy our coverage, please consider donating. You can donate by going to the YouTube chat room right next to the broadcast. Go to the bottom of the chat room. There's a little dollar sign there. You can just click on the dollar sign. Or you can go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. Thanks so much to the moderators in the chat rooms tonight for moderating. Also, don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube. We come on with breaking news videos all the time, all hours of the day and night. So if you want to know about them, subscribe to us on YouTube and click the notifications bell. And for those of you who are Facebook people, you can follow us on Facebook, Right Side Broadcasting. And on Twitter, we're at RSB Network. Ryan says, what website are you using to track results as they come in? The site I have up is the New York Times site. I find they are usually pretty good about getting the results in soon. I'm going to stick with them. If you have a good one, you can message me. The problem is sometimes when I do election coverage, what happens is like 15 different people message me election results sites, and they could be really good, but by the time it would take me to check them all, you'd all be sitting there watching me click on things and being silent, and that wouldn't be fun for you. So right now, I'm sticking with this New York Times one right now. It's simple, has the state up there. They're usually pretty good about getting stuff in fast. So if I find somewhere else is faster, I'll let you know, but I'm sticking with that one for now. Jeffrey Williams says, is that 12 to 15% turnout registered Republican voters? So good question, Jeffrey. So the only people eligible to vote in this primary, if I'm getting this right, are people who voted in the Republican primary for in the original primary elections. This is the runoff for the primary. Nobody got 50% in the Republican primary. This is the runoff between the top two Republican vote getters. But if you voted, Alabama has, I think it's a new law that says for this kind of election, if you voted in the Democratic primary, so back in August when there was the primary, you could either vote in the Democratic primary or Republican Party, or the Republican primary. If you voted in the Democratic primary, you can't vote in this runoff. Because, I understand what they're saying. It makes sense in the sense of like, the Republican primary is supposed to be for Republicans, and if you let Democrats who already voted in the Democratic primary vote in the Republican runoff, you might have like weird strategic voting. So they want to keep the primaries, they want to keep it so you can only vote in one primary. If you could vote in the Democratic primary and then the Republican runoff, you're really voting in both primaries. So there's various reasons they don't want people who voted on one side's primary to vote in the other side's runoff election. But come the general election, anybody can vote. But I believe the 12 to 15% would be among Republicans and not among totals, because Republicans are the only ones who can vote in this. Republicans who voted Republican, I think you have to be registered Republican, and you can't have voted in in the Democratic primary. I don't know what happens if you're a Republican, you didn't vote in the primary. Can you still vote in the runoff? I'm not sure about that. I don't know. It was also interesting because in Alabama, you have to show your ID to vote. So I did that today. I'm very used to being in California and other places. I think in New York, Massachusetts. I don't recall ever in my life having ever had to show an ID, but I've had to do it in Alabama to vote. Okay, we have 4 minutes till the polls close. Who do I want to win, says America First. We wouldn't be agenda-free coverage if I said who I wanted to win. Let's see here. Connor Wells writes in, I think Roy Moore will win because he had big support at his rally last night from Steve Bannon and Nigel Farage. Justin LaGrange says, isn't there an election to fill Nikki Haley's term as governor? I don't know. I was thinking in terms of elections, though, special like congressional elections. I can tell you. Let's see if I can quickly find that out. I don't know. I don't know if there is or there's not. Maybe the lieutenant governor took over. I don't have time to look that up right now anyway, because there's less than 3 minutes until the polls close. In Alabama, we're going to have the results for you as soon as they start coming in. We might even have exit poll results in a couple minutes. So we will see what happens. Write to me on Twitter. Let me know what you're thinking is going to happen in this election. At Lookner on Twitter. Deplorable Dallas says, I believe Roy Moore will win. Many folks are tired of strange politicians, and the enthusiasm for Moore is very high here in Alabama. Oh, Justin corrected me. Is that true, Justin? Justin says the general election in Alabama is December 12th. Is that really true? Let's see. It is December 12th. Yes, so I was wrong about that. Thank you for correcting me. I thought it was election day. The general election in Alabama, and it'll be between the winner tonight and the Democrat Doug Jones, that is going to be December 12th. Thank you for the correction. Amber Johnson says, if Strange turns out a win, all I can say is remember Mississippi. And I actually don't get the reference. So feel free to, maybe I should get the reference, but feel free to let me know about that. Let's see. Steve writes in, keep searching the web on your show with you in the little box. This is the future of TV. I am tired of searching the net. Do you mean you like when we search for you? Okay, so we have, it is 7:59. It is 7:59 Eastern time. In just 30 seconds now, 30 seconds, the polls will be closed in 30 seconds, and we will hopefully within a few minutes start getting results in, and I'm going to see if I can get any exit poll information right away from you. I'm going to check all my sources here and see what I can get you. 15 seconds. By the way, if you're on the web and you see like an exit poll come out, give me a shout on Twitter. Let me know about it, at Lookner. So I'm going to count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The polls are closed. They are closed in Alabama. Hopefully any time now we will start getting results, and those zeros you see there. Those zeros are going to not be zeros anymore, and we're going to get votes in for Roy Moore and Luther Strange and see who is going to be the Republican nominee for the general Senate election to replace Jeff Sessions, and who's very likely going to end up being the next senator from Alabama, or if it's Strange, the same senator, because he's the interim senator right now. So I am going to try to find now, can I find any exit polls? I'm doing a little search here to see what I can find. Now, what I'll say this, I'm sure I will find a lot of people posting exit poll results that I can't confirm or deny. So what I'm looking for is not random person posting what they say is an exit poll. I'm looking for respected news organization posting some kind of exit poll. Honest Patriot writes in, Luther Strange has too many ties, corrupt ties for me to support him, and his name sounds like a generic supervillain. Now, there was some controversy. Some people claimed that there might have been a deal when Luther Strange was named senator because he was the attorney general under the previous governor, and that previous governor was under investigation, and Luther Strange as attorney general recommended they take some time off from the investigation or something like that, or stop it, or slow down the investigation for a while, and then he was named senator, and Luther Strange denies that there was any wrongdoing going on there, but I know there was a little controversy there. Derek Tapp says, why are taxpayers forced to pay for Republican and Democratic primaries to begin with? They can't nominate at convention? All right, let me see if I can get any exit poll results here. So the polls are closed. We're waiting to get votes in. And I'm seeing different people post exit polls, but I don't know who these people are, so I'm not even going to read them to you. I want to know, I want a reputable exit poll here. If I'm gonna post one. Oops, sorry. I turned on my TV. Wow, it's so loud. Jeez. I turned on my TV to try to get an exit poll, and I had no idea it was on that loudly, and you just heard a recording of President Trump speak. My apologies. All right. So we are here. We're covering this election. Roy Moore, Luther Strange, who's going to win, who's going to go to the general election, who will likely be the next senator from Alabama, because it's going to be tough for a Democrat to win in Alabama. The polls are closed. We're just we're waiting right now to get results in. This is Right Side Broadcasting. I am Steve Lookner. We're bringing you live coverage tonight of the special election. Well, it's the Senate runoff election. The primary was a couple months ago. Roy Moore and Luther Strange were the two top vote getters. Luther Strange right there. He is the current senator because he's filling in for Jeff Sessions. But who will win? Roy Moore has been in the head of the polls. This guy right here. So a lot more spending on Strange than Moore the last couple weeks and in general. But as soon as I see new numbers, I'll let you know. So Modern Day POTUS wrote me in and said, they said there's an exit poll out there that says blankety blank, but I'm not giving you that poll because I haven't had like a reputable news organization say yet, here's a exit poll that we think is reputable. So I'm looking around. I'm trying to get information. If you hear of a reputable news organization exit poll, let me know on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner. And also feel free to let me know who you think's going to win. Linda Belk writes in, of all the special elections this year, how many of the Democrats won? Just curious. I think the answer is 0 if I'm right, and I'm guessing that's why you're asking, Linda. Let's see. Andrew Sova says, so you say Roy Moore is not for the wall. Is there an article? Can you show me evidence of that? I never said that, Andrew. Why are you putting words in my mouth? Honest Patriot says, first results expected around 8:15. I had heard the same thing, Honest Patriot. 8:15 is 11 minutes from now. So we're waiting to get some results in here. In the meantime, I'm checking to see if I can find the exit poll numbers, and I'm reading your comments. Let me know what do you know what you think is going to happen if you haven't written in yet. Who do you predict will win? This is your last time to predict it before the results start coming in. Once the results start coming in, I'm not going to care about your predictions anymore, because then you've seen some of the results. So now's the time. Stand up and predict it. Let me know what you think. Let me try doing something real quick here. All right, I'm going to try to avoid having really loud sound on. Let's see if I can do this. All right, hold on one sec, guys.
Using their fists at the 1968 Olympics, the Black Power salute.
Okay, there we go. So what I did is I turned on my TV just to see, hey, maybe they'll have an exit poll somewhere. CNN isn't covering this. There you go. So CNN is talking about Trump and and athletes. Fox News, do they have anything? No, they're talking about the NFL. Okay. How about MSNBC? Are they covering this? Let's see. Are they covering this? No, they're talking about Trump. And Cory Booker's on MSNBC. So look, this is why we come on the air. I mean, in a way, this is why we exist, is we think there are a lot of events. And one of the big reasons why we exist is we think there's a lot of events that deserve live news coverage. This is a very important election. And I just looked at all the 3 channels, Fox, MSNBC, CNN, nobody's covering it. So we like being on the air, being able to bring this to you. Oh, some numbers just came in. I'll talk about those in a second. If you like our coverage, we're viewer supported. Please consider donating. You can donate by clicking on the $sign at the bottom of the YouTube chat, right next to the broadcast. There's a little $sign at the bottom, or go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. We have some votes in. Look, there aren't many votes in. 45 to 24, that's from Coffee County. Hey, let me show you, check it out. Coffee County, 45 votes for Moore, 24 for Strange. How big is Coffee County, I wonder? I'm gonna look this up. Coffee County, Alabama has a population, well, the population is 50,000, 51,000, but you know, they're probably just starting to count the votes there. Let me go up here again. Elizabeth Luker just made another donation. Thank you, Elizabeth. She says, "Love you, Steve, and you don't want to put your views out there, so I will for you." These aren't my views. DC is essing their pants right now. Laugh, 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 emoticon. Keep it up, brother. Thank you, Elizabeth, for the donations. Those really help keep us on the air. We very much appreciate it. So we have some votes in. It's not much. We're going to just talk about it live as soon as these votes come in. The polls closed at 8, so anytime now we should be getting more votes in. So I wouldn't, given that this is 69, more votes in. Let's see. So we had, these votes came in from Mobile. So if you look down here, we have Mobile is now, these are not all the votes in Mobile County, but we have some votes in where Strange is ahead in whatever votes they counted, but very small numbers right now. But it's exciting. The votes are coming in live as we watch. And as we're watching the votes, feel free to write to me. Write to me on Twitter, @Lookner. Let me know what you're thinking. The Trump movement writes in, Roy Moore is going to win big tonight. We'll start a trend of establishment GOP losing. Time to drain the swamp, and Roy Moore will start it. So it's an interesting point you make. Is this going to start a trend tonight either way? Now, I had read some people think that if Roy Moore wins tonight, that might bring in more non-establishment challengers for congressional races in Senate, especially Senate seats in the next election. You might get Republican establishment people getting challenged more. On the other hand, if Strange wins, will some of the non-establishment people, the anti-establishment people, get discouraged from running in the next election in 2018? So this might have ramifications, what happens tonight, in terms of future elections coming up in 2018. So you can see only a few hundred votes in. I'm going to tell you what the totals were. Christine Bestien just made a donation. She said, "Get Steve a chocolate milkshake." I love chocolate milkshakes. I can't really eat them anymore, though, or drink them anymore. My metabolism doesn't really process them fast enough for me to not gain tons of pounds by drinking chocolate milkshakes. I used to love them, though. Let's see here. I want to try to get you what I think the total number of votes might be around. So the special election. Well, wait a second. Yes, so just so you know, in the Republican primary in August, there were 423,000 votes cast. So I would expect to be roughly around there for tonight. And there are only about 400 votes in right now. So it's very early. Hopefully soon it should pick up, though, in terms of votes coming in. We'll have them for you as they come in live here. I like it when this whole state is showing. You're watching Right Side Broadcasting coverage of the election runoff and for the Alabama Senate. We're taking your comments @Lookner on Twitter, @LOOKNER. Feel free to follow me on Twitter if you like breaking news. I post about breaking news stuff a lot. And subscribe to us on YouTube. Click the notifications bell so you get notified about all of our breaking news videos and our live news coverage. Hey, look what happened. More votes came in. We're still very early, guys. So we have some votes in from Jefferson County. That is the biggest county, and that's the biggest county in Alabama. That's where Birmingham is. You can see that. This county here. Hey, Shaggy donated, and Shaggy says, have a hot cup of coffee on me. Thank you, Shaggy, very much. Shaggy577. It's 5777. Hey, look, we can see the different counties. Choctaw County only has 14 votes in. Coffee County, very few votes in. Oops, I want to do this. Let's get it up a little more here. A little more. There we go. Oh, I think I did it perfectly. Coffee County. We got some votes in from Cherokee County. Only 21 votes in from Cherokee County. Monroe County. So we're talking still very few votes. In the meantime, let me see if anybody else has written in. I'll read your comments. Greg writes in, it was reported that $30 million was spent against Moore. How much was spent by SLF? And now SLF, I need to look up. Is that the Senate Leadership Fund? And are they, Senate Leadership Fund is McConnell backed. It's McConnell backed. Let's see if I can read you a little more about Senate Leadership Fund. I'm reading an article here that says, this was from late August, according to info obtained by Breitbart, the Senate Leadership Fund has spent $2.5 million on advertising for next month's Senate Republican primary runoff in Alabama. The Senate Leadership Fund is a super PAC backed by Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. And they are supporting Luther Strange in this election. So still waiting for votes to come in. We had heard a lot of votes might come in around 8:15, or that's when heavier votes would start coming in, which is 2 minutes from now. So hopefully very soon we'll have more votes to tell you about. And again, this is Right Side Broadcasting. If you enjoy our coverage, please like this video on YouTube and share it on Facebook. We can't afford to advertise. We're a small company. So when you like and share our video, that helps spread the word about us. So we appreciate when you do that. Thanks again to all the moderators in the chat room tonight for moderating the chat. Mason Kaufelt writes in, it's early, but I'm still surprised at how close those early votes are. Strange doing better in population centers than I thought. You know, it's hard to tell though, because like there's so few votes in right now, so you have no idea like which little neighborhood these are coming in from. So I'm not going to make any judgment yet, but hopefully we'll have some more votes soon that give us a little better picture about what's going on here. John Houlihan writes in, either Moore or Strange, Trump wins. If need be, the president will reposition on the right side. Glenn Hendrickson says, what's up, Steve? What's up, Glenn? Thanks for covering the Alabama Senate results. It's our pleasure to cover these for you, Glenn. We enjoy doing it. The Right Shift sent me an exit poll. I don't know where it's from, so I'm not going to read it. Cindy Lopez says Moore will win. Sixlets 821 says, I think Moore is going to take this. Time to kill the establishment once and for all. MAGA. RealNSE.com says, hey man, thanks for your coverage. Pretty sure Moore will win. He's the better Americanism candidate for Trump to pass his agenda. Ronnie Mercer says, Roy Moore will win by 8 points. He will be very pro-Trump even though the president wanted Strange. RRM says, I think Luther Strange will win. Trump and Pence will take him over the finish line victoriously. RRM, one of the only people who's written in today to us and said he or she thinks Strange will win. Keck King says, Moore will win for sure. Pope Robert E. Lee II says, Steve, I expect Luther Strange to win in a squeaker. So somebody else predicting Strange. America First says, if Strange wins, it'll be 100% because of President Trump's endorsement, which will show every single GOP scumbag that President Trump has the power to make or break them in 2018. You know, I do think if Strange were to win, it would be seen as like, I think President Trump would obviously seen as something that really helped President Luther Strange. What I'm interested in is, if Strange doesn't win, are we going to see channels like CNN and MSNBC like claim that, oh, this shows that President Trump doesn't carry any weight? I don't know. I'll be interested in seeing what their reaction is. Our votes are kind of frozen at the moment at 262 to 261. We're expecting, you know, a few 100,000 votes in this election, so it's still really early. But I'm assuming very soon we will have more come in, and we're sitting here watching them for you and covering them for you. Write to me. Let me know what you're thinking about the election so far, or what your predictions are. I'll still read your predictions because so few votes are in. You can write to me at @Lookner on Twitter. And you can follow me there too, and you can also follow Right Side Broadcasting at RSB Network. At RSB Network. Oh, a few more votes came in, but not many yet. Where did those come in from? I don't know. I didn't see which spot these came in from. Monroe County we have here. All these counties we have, like, you know, 30 votes in, 69 votes in, 21 votes in. Now, how did these votes get in so fast? Did like one neighborhood somehow beat all the others and get their votes in really fast? I'm confused how that works. Maybe the super small ones can get in their vote counts fast. Mobile County right now, I'll move this down so I can show you. They have a few more votes in, but again, not that many votes. Only one precinct reporting. So we're really at the beginning here. Henoch 58 writes in, if Luther wins, then Trump wins, and if Moore wins, then Trump wins even bigger. Connor Wells says, in Alabama, do they count the results by county and it's first past the post? Isn't first past the post the one where like the most votes wins? But that's not going to matter tonight, because I thought first past the post is when, like, even if you get less than 50%, you still win if you have the most votes. But since it's only two people running, one of them is going to get more than 50%. Thomas says, hey, Steve, Moore is anti-globalist and anti-establishment. So if Moore wins, that's good for Trump. So we're just waiting for more votes to come in here. We've been stuck on this number, this smallish number for a little while. But rumor had it that around 8:15 we're going to start getting a lot of votes in. It's now 8:19. So anytime now, we will see more and get a better picture about what's going on there in Alabama. Here in Alabama. I'm sitting in Alabama right now. Why am I staying there? And we are still taking your comments, as we're going to be doing throughout the night. So write to me on Twitter, @Lookner. Let me know what you're thinking about this election. Luca Luke writes in, hi, Steve. Have you voted? And who do you like or think will win? Keep up the good work, Lucas. As I said before when somebody asked me, Lucas, I don't want to say who I did vote. I always vote, but I don't want to say who I voted for because I'm here to cover the news agenda free. So I don't want to say who I voted for. I hope it's a fair election. That's what I hope for. Oh, Gene Arthur says, in Ohio, early results are from absentee ballots. I don't know if these results are from absentee ballots. I have no idea how it works in Alabama. Hey, we have some more votes in. It's 304 to 288. Roy Moore over Luther Strange, but this is still a very, very, very small amount of votes. Dale County has some votes there. They didn't have any before. 51 votes in from Dale County. Okay, so we're a very small amount of votes in here. Again, still fewer than 1% reporting. So what will happen? I certainly think if Luther Strange were to win tonight, that would be an upset because Roy Moore has been ahead in the polls. So that would be an upset. But at the same time, if Roy Moore wins, that wouldn't be an upset in a sense. Well, it'd be an upset in the sense of, I guess, he's been ahead in the polls. But at the same time, it'll whoever wins, it'll also be interesting to see does President Trump come out and tweet tonight about this. Like, say Roy Moore wins, will President Trump say something tonight? One viewer wrote in a little while ago, they think that if Roy Moore wins, President Trump will come out and say something nice about Roy Moore tonight. I think that was what the viewer said, but we'll keep an eye on that. John Magoo says, if Moore wins, it means that the Republicans are going even more to the right. That should scare Democrats. So we still have only about 600 votes in. So small. We really have no idea what's going to happen at this point. We can't really read into this at all. So really no idea. The suspense builds. What will happen? Will Luther Strange, the current senator, the person endorsed by President Trump, the establishment candidate, supported by Mitch McConnell and the Senate Leadership Fund, will Luther Strange win? Or will Roy Moore win? Anti-establishment, very socially conservative. Twice was Supreme Court, state Supreme Court Chief Justice, and had to step down one time, and I believe was thrown out the other time because he wouldn't. The first time he wouldn't enforce a judge's order to take the Ten Commandments, marble. I think it was marble. A Ten Commandments statue block. A monument take it away from the front of the State Judiciary Building. He wouldn't remove this tablet of the Ten Commandments. And the second time he was state Supreme Court Chief Justice, he told judges to not enforce the United States Supreme Court ruling which legalized gay marriage. So he's a controversial figure in some circles, but he was ahead in the polls. And what's happening? Okay, we have a few more votes in. Roy Moore has a lead. It's still a very small amount of votes, so I wouldn't really read into it. So some of these counties, Morgan County, Roy Moore is up by a lot there, but only one of 41 precincts reporting. And supposedly Roy Moore will do better in the more rural parts of the state. For the non-rural, you have to look to like Montgomery County, where Montgomery is, Birmingham, Jefferson County, where Birmingham is, Mobile County, where Mobile is, Madison, where Huntsville is. Hey, how about Lee County? I'm in Lee County. We're here somewhere. There we are. There's my county. No votes in yet. Can't Stump the Trump says, I think the president secretly wants Moore to win, but made a deal with Strange to support him. You're saying made a deal because, as he talked about, President Trump in the rally mentioned that Strange was supporting him on health care in the Senate. So you think there was a deal going on there? Party of Lions says Strange will win and send a message to all of Washington that a Trump approval can change a race, putting the swamp on notice to get in line. His proving voting record is what got Trump's endorsement and will ensure others vote correctly going forward. Milt Michael says, if they impeach Trump, do you think there will be a civil war? I don't know if this is I think this is a joke question. I don't think it's a serious question. Because no impeachment of Trump is happening anytime soon. So I'm going to assume that was a joke question. C. Solis says, one precinct out of a county says nothing. There are many precincts in each county. Yes. Too few votes to read into right now. Senior Dollar says, my prediction, Big Luther or Senator Strange will win. You mean Luther Strange because they're both the same person. So let's see. Mason Kaufelt says, wait till around 10% of the reports are in, and then a prediction can be more likely. Sorry, I'm just Twitter binging tonight. No problem. God Help Deplorable says, pray Moore wins. Trump will congratulate him. Wendy Keel says, watching your live stream, proud voter of Roy Moore in Birmingham. You're watching Right Side Broadcasting's live coverage. We are covering this live. I don't think the news networks are covering it live. I went on a few minutes ago and checked the news networks. They weren't covering it live at all. But we are here covering it live. We think it's important. We think it deserves live coverage. We think it's kind of exciting also. So we're very happy that you've joined us. Feel free to subscribe to us on YouTube. We do news videos all the time. Subscribe to us on YouTube and click the notifications bell so you find out when we're coming on the air. Also, we are viewer supported. So if you like our coverage, your donations are honestly why we can be uncovering the news. We rely on your donations to stay on the air. So if you like our coverage, please consider making a donation. You can go to the YouTube chat right next to the broadcast. There's a little $ at the bottom of the YouTube chat. Just click on that little $. Or go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. And feel free to like this video on YouTube and share it on Facebook. That really helps us out when you do that. And hello to everybody watching on Facebook as well tonight, in addition to YouTube and maybe Twitch. I'm not sure if we're on Twitch. Cindy Lopez says, I know it's early, but the closeness makes me nervous. I'm guessing, Cindy, you support Roy Moore. Brandon Honeycutt says, I believe President Trump is using reverse psychology by endorsing Strange, knowing it will entice the anti-Trumpers to vote more. Some more votes are in here. So we're officially at 1% reporting. We are no longer at less than 1% reporting. 12 of 2,286 precincts are in. And Roy Moore does have a lead over Luther Strange. Now remember, we're expecting, 420,000 people voted in the Republican primary, and we only have 1,500 votes in now. So very small number of votes in. And we'll just have to wait and get a better feel about what's going on tonight. But let's look at some of the counties here. I'm just peeking around to see if there's anything interesting. I mean, a lot of these counties, you have like one precinct reporting. Jefferson is the biggest county in Alabama, and you only have 79 votes there. Mobile, we have a few hundred votes in. Now, Moore is supposed to do better in the rural areas. You can see right now a couple of the more non-rural areas, Jefferson County and Mobile County. Strange is ahead in those counties. Nothing yet from Madison County, where Huntsville is. If I'm remembering right, I believe Madison County is the one where a lot of people voted for Mo Brooks, who came in third place. And Mo Brooks endorsed Roy Moore in this election runoff. So we're just waiting for more votes to come in, and we're reading your comments. Well, we got a lovely donation from Von Bridson donated. Is that Australian dollars? It says $. I think that might mean Australian dollars. Thank you so much, Von Bridson. We appreciate that. We're so happy when we get donations, because that just all that means is that we can stay on the air a lot longer and cover more news for you, and that's what we like doing. Shaggy made a donation, Shaggy5777, and said, hey Steve, I sent you a couple tweets with info on a story of my dad, a veteran that needs to be seen by the American people. I will check out those tweets, Shaggy. Honest Patriot says Roy Moore led Strange by 2.8% in the primary in Montgomery County. C. Solis says Strange will only carry big urban areas. Moore will take the rural areas where patriots live. Oh, more votes are in. So now we still have 1% of precincts reporting, but we have a bit of a lead for Roy Moore. It's quite early. You can't really judge, I don't think, based on these votes. At least, maybe if I was a super Alabama electoral expert and I could look at the individual counties and say, this county always votes this way, maybe that I would be able to judge what's going on based on the numbers now. But the numbers are very small right now. But Roy Moore is ahead. And In the counties with the big cities, we still have, or the bigger cities, we still have Strange ahead. He's not ahead by much in Jefferson County, but there's not many votes in there. Hey, Tom O'Reilly just donated $25. Thank you, Tom. That's very kind of you. We very much appreciate it here at Right Side Broadcasting. That'll help us cover more news. That's really cool. So, hopefully we get more votes in soon. In the meantime, and Benjamin Poon made a donation, gave $15, said always show the crowds. Yes, we do show the crowds. Right Side Broadcasting, you know, you might not know this, but we were the ones, if you watch President Trump's rallies during the election campaign, you probably watched them on Right Side Broadcasting on YouTube, because we were the only ones showing the rallies and we showed the crowds. And we were the only ones who would show you like the whole rally and not like take a minute out of President Trump's speech and just show you that. We would show you the entire rally, all the speakers beforehand. We even go to the rallies and we interview people who are at the rallies. We do that nowadays. We go to the rallies, we show up several hours earlier. We talk to people in the crowd. We just get their take on what they're thinking about things. So we do that here. And we just, you know, we don't judge. We just bring you the news and let you judge for yourselves. Maxine E. Elaine Reyes writes in, I pray more wins. We need true MAGA senators. Jacob writes in, do y'all cover other state elections, such as gubernatorial, senator, and House elections? So we would cover a state election if it had particular importance. So it's not like our policy to cover non-national elections, but if something comes up, you know, that we think a lot of people are going to care about, then we'll, you know, nationwide, that's something we can cover. Look, we covered the French election. We covered the British election. So we will cover lots of different elections. It just sort of needs to be something with more than like a local, you know, audience. Not that interest, not that those elections are bad or not interesting. It's just that we have very limited resources here. So we have to like pick and choose what we cover. Karen 220 writes in, if more wins, it will prove that Trump supporters are not a bunch of zombie followers. Interesting comment, Karen. Hey, by the way, we have more votes in. Things tightened up a little bit, although it's so few votes right now anyway, only 540 votes separate them. But we have a 56.9 to 43.1 lead for Roy Moore. Still only 1% of the precincts are reporting. Smack McDougal writes in, the Senate won't get 50-60 votes for anything except legalized DACA. Think about it. Trip Field says, I believe that Jeb Bush has a decent chance of winning this election. Look for him to make a come from behind win. Smack McDougal says, a more win tonight and in the general would change little. GOP are resisting Trump's agenda, dragging their feet on purpose. Bob 6 writes in, hi Steve, love your newscasts. Thank you. Hey, to the point, I have a friend living in the Virgin Islands. It seems they have total devastation. Yeah, I've heard things are really, really bad at the U.S. Virgin Islands and also in Puerto Rico. I think you're going to send another, and he says, no power, no water, no food, very little, no help really at this point. Can you do a story to help them? Well, you know what, I've been tweeting out about Puerto Rico, and I'll try to go find some more information on the Virgin Islands to talk about. And you're right, you know, we can't forget about these places because Puerto Rico is doing very, very badly. I've been reading some stories about it, and I don't doubt you that U.S. Virgin Islands is doing very badly too. So I will look into it. Thank you, Bob, for writing in. And thank you to Matt Feemster, gave $10. Thank you, Matt. We very much appreciate it. That'll help us stay on the air and cover more news for you. John Magoo writes in, if you add all of the Democratic primary votes in Alabama, you get 165,006. Roy Moore got 164,524 in that primary by himself. Yes, it will be tough for a Democrat to win Alabama. Okay, so we're looking to get more votes in. Oh, a bunch of votes just came in. So now we have 2% of the precincts reporting. 2%. Roy Moore is ahead 56.3 to 43.7. I'm not entirely sure, where these precincts are from. I wouldn't read too much into this yet. So yeah, look, Jefferson County is the most populous county. And that's supposed to be a place where Strange does well. There are only 79 votes in Jefferson County. So, and in Mobile County, you might think Luther Strange will do a little better there because it has Mobile in it. They only have 300 votes in. So it's very early right now. We'll keep following this and let you know what we're hearing. But feel free to keep, we're going to take your comments all night. So write in if you have comments on what's going on, predictions, thoughts on the election in general. Give me a shout on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner. You can follow Right Side Broadcasting on Twitter at RSB Network. Scott Thorson says, conventional wisdom says the incumbent party loses in the midterm. I see both parties losing in the midterm and Trump winning big. Modern Day POTUS says, looking good now, early results. I'm guessing Modern Day POTUS supports Roy Moore. Reagan Better writes in, Moore leading Strange 56 to 43. I know Reagan Better because we're covering it right here. Join our broadcast. Come watch us. Let's see here. Smack McDougal says, does a Moore win now mean, would a Moore win mean Andrew Breitbart, now deceased, and Steve Bannon are the big winners of the night? Well, the big winner will be Roy Moore, but I don't know. It's there's different ways you can interpret this election. I'll leave it to you to offer your interpretations depending on who wins. But you might think Bannon is helped out by this and Breitbart because Bannon stepped in and supported Roy Moore at the rally last night. Or was it 2 nights ago? I'm not sure. Trip Field says, a Moore victory here could have big ripples. What impact do you think it could have on other senatorial elections? Well, as I was saying before, some commentators think that if Moore wins, you might see more establishment Republicans getting primary challenges from non-establishment, more right-wing candidates than might have happened otherwise. That's one theory. All right, so we really should have more votes coming in soon here. We're still at a very small amount of votes, only 2% reporting, only 2%. So we're Right Side Broadcasting, though. We're going to stay with this. 3% in now. Things are a little closer, but it's 3%. It's so hard to say because where are these 3% from? So it's still hard to, make big assumptions here. But we have a 53.7 to 46.3 lead. Birmingham, Jefferson County where Birmingham is, that's supposed to go for Strange. Very few votes still in there. Let's check out some of these counties here. I mean, like 5 of 32 precincts reporting, 9 of 27 precincts reporting. The rural counties are supposed to go more for Moore than Strange. So the numbers in these counties, we have 5742, 5743, 5148, Lauderdale County, 5742 in Blount County, so just looking around here, we have some votes in from Montgomery County. Luther Strange is winning in that county, 1100 to 818. That's where Montgomery is. Hey, Josh Hill just made a $10 donation. Thank you, Josh, so much. We appreciate it. Your donations are what lets us stay on the air and give you this coverage. So thank you for donating. If you want to donate, you can go to the YouTube chat room. You see it on YouTube. Click on the $ at the bottom of the chat room. That's the easiest way. Or also, it's really easy. Go to rsbn.tv/donate. rsbn.tv/donate. Thank you for donating, guys. Very much appreciated. So I genuinely have no idea what will happen. I don't know. We don't have that many votes in. It's certainly not like from these initial votes, we can't really draw conclusions from this. I mean, you want to say, well, Roy Moore is ahead, and he was ahead in the polls, but we just don't know right now. We don't know. So we'll see what happens. Poppy Melt says, you should compare this election to the 2016 GOP presidential primary, see if Moore or Strange is doing better in Trump areas. That's an interesting thought. As of right now, it might be a little too complex for me to go back and get that information and do all that at once and read your comments. So I would encourage you to do that on your own, however. It's a good suggestion, Poppy Melt. Thanks. Oh, Termite sent me a tweet. Here, I'm going to interrupt this and show you the tweet that that Termite sent me. So give me 1 sec. I'll get back to the results in 1 second. I'll show you this tweet here. This tweet was from Jonathan Seri, who's a Fox News correspondent. And Jonathan Seri says, 10 commandments are on display at the Entrance to Election Night watch party for U.S. Senate candidate Roy Moore. Roy Moore was involved in a 10 Commandments controversy when he was Supreme Court Chief Justice in Alabama, and he would not enforce a judge's order to remove a 10 Commandments monument from the front of the state judiciary building. All right, let's go back to the results. Thank you for sending that to me. If you find interesting tweets, write to me at @Lookner. Let me know. A few more votes in. We are at 4% reporting. Roy Moore is holding a 9% lead right now. He's holding a 9% lead with 4% reporting. I'm going to disappear for 2 seconds. You'll see me go away for about 10 seconds because I'm going to get a little more water here. So Elizabeth Luker just made another donation. That's your third donation tonight. That's really amazing. She says, put it like this. Strange is my mother-in-law's cousin, and she voted Moore. So Elizabeth Luker, you think Moore is going to win. And Jonathan Covey just made a $2 donation. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you guys for the donations. Very much appreciated. So we still only have 4% of the reporting in. The more numbers, obviously, that come in, and the longer Moore retains this lead, it suggests more that Moore will win. That's not really great analysis, but we'll keep watching. Deborah J. Bush just gave $20. Very kind of you, Deborah. Thank you so much from us at Right Side Broadcasting. Jeffrey Williams writes in, interested to see what happens in Huntsville. This is where President Trump rallied the other night. So there's no votes in right now from Huntsville. That's Madison County. No votes in there. Kevin Karanji writes in, the real candidate of Trump is Moore. Ronnie Mercer writes in, we need to primary as many rhinos as possible in 2018. So I hope a Moore victory will encourage more anti-establishment candidates to run. Let's see here. So I got a text from Joe. Joe's putting up, I guess, a nice graphic on the screen every once in a while. That's very nice, Joe. Thank you. Let me know your thoughts as it's. Oh, we have some more votes in. We are now up to 5% reporting. And what I'm noticing as these votes come in, this margin is really not changing. We're kind of in the 8 to 9% margin for Roy Moore over Luther Strange. Now, Jefferson County, we're starting to see more votes there. That's the biggest county. We're seeing 10 of 172 precincts reporting. And Luther Strange has a lead, which is not surprising. I'm guessing he's leading in Mobile County too. There are only like 300 votes in there, but he's leading there as well. The rural areas are supposed to be more of the strongest Roy Moore areas. And let's see, this is Montgomery County. Luther Strange is ahead there too. 13 of 99% precincts reporting. But right now, we're not seeing that lead shrink at all for Roy Moore. It seems to be, right around now, around 9%. That's sticking to it. We'll keep watching as the votes come in. JC writes in, "We the people have spoken. Go Moore." Thank you to JC and all the other moderators for all of your work tonight, moderating the chat room. Oh, I see the graphic up there. The Columbia Bugle says, "Enjoying the RSBN network coverage. Great stuff." Thank you so much, Columbia Bugle. We enjoy doing it for you guys and with you guys. We love hearing your thoughts. Write to me what you think at Lookner on Twitter. Jeremy Miller writes in, "Moore's win will be McConnell's loss and Trump's victory." So we are still at only 5% reporting, still a small number, not a big number. Mark Watts writes in, "If Moore wins, it will send a powerful message to swamp Republicans that the people are putting them on notice. Either pass Trump legislation that puts America first, or the do-nothing Republicans will be replaced, no matter how much party money they bring to town to keep their incumbents in office." Thank you, Mark Watts, for writing in. And yeah, a lot more money was spent on this race on Luther Strange than was spent on Roy Moore. Luca Luke says, "Hi, Steve. Everyone's predicting Moore to win. Do you think he'll be another Rand Paul type senator? And how does that impact Trump's agenda since Rand has gone against Obamacare?" I don't know where Roy Moore will stand on Obamacare, to be quite honest. I mean, if he's conservative, he might on the one hand, he's going to oppose Obamacare. But on the other hand, he might say, I don't want to have any kind of sort of half change measure on Obamacare. I'm only going to vote for like a complete repeal of Obamacare and something that's totally different. And that maybe makes it harder to get a replacement bill passed for Obamacare. So I don't know what's going to happen if Moore wins, which he might, we don't know who's going to win yet. Hey, so we have more votes in. It's up to 7%, and Roy Moore's lead has gotten bigger. His lead is up to 13% now. It seems significant to me. This is a non-negligible number of votes in. So now let's look down. So it's 56.5 to 43.5. I'm going to go in a second and look down at some of the counties here. And see, so some of the counties you can see on the right, it says reporting in. And like Limestone County, that went way for more, but they're almost finished reporting. And Houston County. And then the other counties, then we start getting down to like, the ones where Strange is ahead, not as many precincts have voted for a lot of them, or have reported in. And then there's a bunch of counties at the bottom that nobody's reported from them yet. So we have a little ways to go here. But for now, Moore's lead is increasing, at least for now. Just checking your messages here. Henok58 writes, "And I love the professionalism that you show in the interpersonal connection of the network." Thank you, Henok. So we really like having you guys, all you women and men, guys and girls, write in and just tell us what you're thinking. We love to hear what you think about what's going on. And because we don't know what you're thinking. So best way to find out is to have you write in, and we like to give you a voice and read what your thoughts are on the air. Fran says, "Please consider using the word additional votes instead of more votes, because more votes sounds like they're votes for more." I understand. Glenn Hendrickson says, "I'm not sure about the theory that Trump secretly supports Moore. He is too straightforward to play a game like that." Dar Smith writes in, a federal judge said that the Ten Commandments promoted a religion. Really? Old Testament equals Ten Commandments equals Old Testament equals Judaism. Dar Smith says the monument in question with the Ten Commandments also had Declaration of Independence, Constitution, and Bill of Rights. Ten Commandments is foundation of judicial system. Joseph writes in, what does this race and Trump's role say about his relationship with McConnell and McConnell's future as majority leader? So, I honestly don't know. I mean, this might not affect McConnell's role at all, and so Alabama is also, I don't think it would be a surprise if in Alabama a more, right-leaning, socially conservative candidate won the election. So, but I don't know. I don't have a good feel on how this might affect McConnell at all. I don't think McConnell will be happy about it if Roy Moore wins. RealNSE.com says, are you going to be rocking with us till the end? Well, yeah, we're going to stay on until the election's decided, definitely. If there's 99% in, it takes a day to count the last 1%. We're not going to stand for that. We have some more votes in. Roy Moore's lead just got bigger. There are 9% reporting. Roy Moore has about a 15% lead right now. And now I don't know what's going to happen. The lead could shrink, definitely. It's only right now about 6,700 votes. But let's play this forward a little bit. Imagine that Roy Moore wins, and it's in a margin like this. It's like a sizable margin, bigger than the polls. Will that send a message? Will that encourage more anti-establishment candidates to get into primaries? Because Roy Moore is going to be way outspent in this primary by Luther Strange money. So, if Roy Moore gets way outspent, is running against the current senator, and is running against the senator endorsed by the establishment Republicans and President Trump, and still wins by a lot, who knows? Maybe that'll encourage a lot of other people to get into races against establishment Republicans. Trip Field says, I suspect that Trump's rather half-hearted endorsement hasn't helped Strange. He even pledged to help Moore if he wins while on stage. Well, there was that time, where he said, if Moore wins, I will support him on stage. And some people might have thought that wasn't the most strong endorsement of Luther Strange. He certainly didn't attack Moore up there when he was speaking at the rally, President Trump. So we have 9% reporting here. Roy Moore has expanded his lead to like a 15% lead right now. Joe writes in, I think a lot of people remember that the Love Gov, Robert Bentley, took his new hot date, Miss Mason, to a Celine Dion concert while in Vegas attending the Republican Governors Association annual conference. Anywho, during all this controversy of the Love Governor's affair, the Love Governor promoted the Attorney General of Alabama to be senator, his name Luther Strange. I saw a theory that said, so the governor of Alabama, for those of you who don't know, who was the governor, it was Robert Bentley, and he was embroiled in this scandal where he was having an affair with, I want to say, I don't know if it was one of his aides or somebody who worked in the government, and they were using state property for it. They were accused of that and accused of, I think, threatening people to keep quiet. And he ended up having to step down, and he got, I think he pled guilty. He certainly either pled guilty or convicted to a couple of misdemeanors. And I heard a theory that said that perhaps with that scandal going on in Alabama, that might make more people support Roy Moore because he's seen as a strong social conservative, and people would want that more in the aftermath of the scandal. I have no idea if this theory is true. I'm just putting that out there as a theory I had heard. It's possible. Okay, we have 11% of the vote reporting now. Roy Moore's lead is getting bigger. He's leading by 15.8%. Wow. So I'm interested in seeing if this lead holds up, but it is expanding. It's a pretty big lead right now, about 8,500 votes. So we'll keep an eye on this for you. I need to leave the screen and grab something for 5 seconds. Hold on a second right now. Sorry about that. Okay, so yeah, we've seen over the last few minutes as the votes have coming in. Roy Moore's lead is expanding. Now, it's still early. You know, there's only about 53,000 votes total in right now. We're expecting, you know, somewhere the primary, Republican primary, about 420,000 people voted. But this is a non-insignificant. That's a double negative. But it's certainly not an insignificant amount of votes. And we've seen Roy Moore's lead expanding. What do you think about this? Write to me on Twitter. Let me know. Mitchell Ferguson says, loved you covering French elections, Georgia special election, now Alabama. Truly a man for all seasons. Thanks, MAGA. Thank you, Mitchell. We appreciate it. And if you do like our coverage, and you do like that we're even covering the election, you know, we turned on the mainstream media news networks before. They weren't even covering the election. If you like our coverage, please consider donating, because we're viewer supported. Without your donations, we can't be on the air. Your donations are what keeps us on the air and allows us to cover these events. So if you like our coverage, please consider donating. You can go to donate. You can go to the YouTube chat. It's right next to the broadcast. There's a YouTube chat. Go to the bottom of that chat. Just click the dollar sign. There's a little dollar sign there. You can click on that and donate. Or you can go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. And don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube. We do breaking news videos all the time. We cover live breaking news. So subscribe to us and click the notifications bell so you get notified when we come on the air. So we now have 13% reporting, and Roy Moore is up by 16.2%. Wow. And I guess we have shots ready of the Moore and Strange campaign gatherings tonight. Joe tells me, our CEO and producer tonight. So we will be able to show those to you as well. But Moore is up by 16.2%. His lead is still growing. It's not looking good right now for Luther Strange, but it's still early. Mr. D. Ebanks writes in, hi, Steve. I think Trump called Bannon, Farage, and even a few others and told them to back Moore. I think Trump feels trapped, obligated to say a word or two on behalf of Strange because of what Strange did for him when it came to voting. He needs those votes. I'm betting that Trump knows Moore and wants him in there pronto, but because he knows that Strange is the shoo-in for the Republican establishment, he's showing him a kind face now, just in case he does win. Would be better to put Strange in a trapped, obligated state of mind from now, in case he wins. He would be making it mentally harder for Strange to flat out ignore Trump's agenda if he does win. You know, something else I thought of, Mr. D.E. Banks, even though President Trump didn't endorse Roy Moore for this runoff, if Roy Moore wins, he's going to run against the Democrat in December, and President Trump will be able to come endorse Roy Moore then. President Trump could come back to Alabama and do a Roy Moore rally if he wanted to, before the general election if he wants to. So he does have a chance to endorse Roy Moore publicly, because this is not the final election. The final election will be against the Democrat in December. So we have 13% reporting, and Roy Moore has a sizable lead, 16.2%. Romish Papist writes in, thanks for the coverage tonight. I support Moore. I believe Strange is a rhino supported by McConnell. David Vodicka says, more MAGA, please. And more is M-O-O-R-E. Wendy Keel says, the Democratic / Rhinos heads will explode if Judge Moore wins. Nimble Navigator says, in Huntsville, Trump said it's possible he made a mistake supporting Strange. You're saying at the rally he said that. Did he say it's... I can't remember exactly what he said. I listened to the speech, but I can't remember exactly now. Sharon Soldo made a donation, gave $2, said, keep up the good work. Thank you, Sharon. We appreciate that. Militant Normal says, Moore was always going to win. Strange was involved with a corrupt government that had to resign. Zero to do with Trump. A 100 Years of Relativity says, Strange is an unfortunate last name for a Senate candidate. You know, I didn't realize, Luther Strange, I knew he was tall. He is the tallest senator ever, 6'9", tallest senator ever. Bonnie Burchett just gave $5 and said, thank you for covering the Alabama primary runoff. You're welcome. We are happy to bring this to you. We didn't know if people were going to be covering it. It looks like the news channels, the mainstream media was not going to be covering it. They hadn't been covering it earlier tonight. I know that. So we wanted to bring this to you. We thought this was important. We're glad you're joining us for it. We now have 16% of the votes in. 16% of the votes are in, and Roy Moore, his lead keeps increasing. It is now 16.4%. Every time more votes come in, additional votes. Yeah, somebody said I should say additional votes. Every time additional votes come in, I think maybe it'll get closer. But I mean, this is a sizable lead right now for Roy Moore. 16.4% lead. Now, just to give you a sense of what's going on here. So some of these counties, we have this one, Roy Moore 60-40, 58-41, 51-48, Jackson County, Marshall. How about, so Jefferson County, by the way, only 19 of 172 precincts reporting. That's supposed to be strong for Strange. You can see he's getting 63% of the vote there. That's with Birmingham in it, most populous county. In Mobile County, Strange is leading by about 9% there. And they only have one precinct reporting. So it looks like there's a lot of votes out in these counties with Birmingham in them and Mobile in them. So even though Roy Moore's lead is really big now, if a lot of the votes are out in these really big populous counties in Alabama, or comparatively big counties, that could definitely shrink that lead some. Real Sharon says, Texas pulling for more, drain the swamp. The Devil Skeleton says, hi, happy to be watching this with you. You're very comforting. Well, I'm glad that's better than other things we could be here. Excited that Moore is going to win. Hoping the establishment heeds this. I was concerned over Trump's support of Strange. It was very distressing. Thank you. Thank you for watching, Devil Skeleton. We're glad you're watching with us. Daniel Katowski writes in, Steve, Trump, I think you're saying Trump only backed Strange because of the establishment and it was all a trick. Moore is the one we want and the one is the one we want, the one Trump wants. Establishment just does not get it. Lynn C made a donation, £2 British. He said, thanks for your work, Steve. Lynn from England. Thank you, Lynn, for sending your donation all the way from England. We have now more votes in. 18% are in. And Roy Moore is still winning by 16%. We're starting to see, this is a significant amount of votes in, and Roy Moore is still winning by 16%. So it's not over by any means, but you know, if we keep seeing these votes come in and Roy Moore still has a 16% lead, it's very soon going to be apparent that Luther Strange can't catch up. 18% in now. Central Florida for Trump says, great coverage as always. Thank you, Central Florida for Trump. Thanks for watching. So, Conservazilla, sorry, somebody just sent, this wasn't, Wisconsin Trump girl just sent me a post by Dave Wasserman. And Dave Wasserman is he covers elections all the time for Cook Political Report. I think he works for 538 too. He contributes to 538. And I know Dave Wasserman as somebody who's like, when I read his stuff, he's nonpartisan, so he doesn't really have a skin in the game. He just covers the elections. Dave Wasserman, now, you know, I'm not going to project it, but Dave Wasserman, he's projecting that Roy Moore wins. Dave Wasserman is an election analyst. He's predicting that Roy Moore is going to win. Now I'm going to retweet that, but we're not projecting it here yet, and we're going to wait to hear more people talk about this. But Dave Wasserman is predicting, who is a very knowledgeable elections expert, that Roy Moore will defeat Senator Strange in the runoff vote. So at least Dave Wasserman is predicting this now. Let's go back to the votes, though, and see what the votes show. Thanks for sending that in, Wisconsin Trump Girl. We have 18% reporting. Roy Moore still has a 16-point lead. You now have 20. Oh, the votes just came in. 22% reporting. The lead is 17%. Wow. This is the biggest lead we have seen for Roy Moore. It has gone up to 17%, with 22% of the votes in. Now, just one thing here, still Jefferson County very populous, and Mobile County only one precinct in. So it looks like in those two counties, which will be going, I believe, for Strange, a lot of the votes aren't in yet. So this lead could shrink, but at least early, this is a sizable lead for Roy Moore. Cug just gave $5. Thank you, Cug. Cug says, MAGA Moore, drain the swamp. Thank you so much. We are viewer supported, so your donations just help us stay on the air and bring you this news coverage. I want to see, I'm just interested. Is mainstream media covering this yet? Are they covering it? Anybody? They weren't before. Let's see. Hey, why is that so loud? Mute. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know why that was so... Sorry. Everything's going wrong here with my TV. You're hearing the voice of Rachel Maddow. There, it's muted. Sorry, I was just seeing if, I don't know why it's on so loud. MSNBC is not covering this election. Rachel Maddow is just talking right now. You probably just heard her for a moment. Let's see, is CNN covering the election? Let's see. I see CNN talking about Trump in the NFL. That's what they're talking about on CNN now, Trump in the NFL. Fox News is Hannity, and he is not talking about the election. So, but we are talking about it because we think it's important to cover this. We want to be on live covering this election for you. So if you like that we're covering it and you want to see more of this coverage and an alternative to the mainstream media, please consider donating, because your donations are what keeps us on the air. We hate asking for them, but we have to, because that's what keeps us on the air. So if you want to donate, you can go to the YouTube chat room, and right next to the broadcast, at the bottom of the chat room, there's a $ sign there. You can click on that $ sign, or go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. Speaking of which, Laramie Crocker just gave $5 and said, thanks RSBN and Breitbart leading with the truth in this race. Keeping fingers crossed here in Vermont. So thank you for the donation. And also, we would love to hear from you if you have thoughts about what's going on so far tonight. Write to me on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner. We are reading your comments on the air, as we always do here at Right Side Broadcasting. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube and click the notifications bell as well. JC just wrote me, Steve, zap mad cow, please, go more. Edward Dunai just made a donation of $5 and says, good for Alabama doing to Strange what we in Arizona couldn't do to Songbird McCain. Thank you, Edward, for the donation very much. Let's see. Alaya Kaiser says, I'm a more liberal voter, but thanks for the coverage and go more go. Yeah, we don't have an agenda here. We just want to, look, this is an important election, and we just want to be on the air covering it. We think this is important. 26% of the votes are in now, and Roy Moore still has a 16.8% lead. This is a lot of votes in right now, or 26% of the precincts. So that's not necessarily 26% of the votes, but it looks around close. By the way, thank you, Tom Villers. Tom Villers gave $5. Thank you, Tom. Much appreciated. Wow. Roy Moore has a sizable lead. Now this lead, if this lead holds, this is bigger than what, I'd seen polls in the last couple of days say Moore up by 8 around there. So if he ends up winning by 17%, 16%, that's a huge victory for him. As I said before, at least on the channels that don't like Trump, if Moore wins, I think you're going to see certain, with CNN and MSNBC, there are certainly people on these channels who do seem to take any opportunity they can to say bad things about Trump. So there will be, I guarantee you, there will be people on those channels saying like, oh, it shows it's an embarrassment for President Trump, and it shows he has no weight because he endorsed Luther Strange, and Luther Strange lost if he does end up losing. So I'm just saying, get ready for that to happen. Roth 708 just gave $2. Thank you, Roth, very much. Much appreciated. That'll help us stay on the air and cover more events. But these numbers are, wow. Milton Trevino just gave $17.76. Thank you. And says, cheers, guys. War Eagle, been a long-time fan. Thanks for the donation, Milton. And thank you, Trevor Lynch, for giving $2. Trevor Lynch says, Bill Clinton forces himself upon women. So at least right now, Roy Moore is really doing very well. 26% of the vote in. And he has 58.4%, and Luther Strange has 41.6%. This lead seems to keep growing. The biggest lead we saw earlier was 17% for Moore. Chris Brown says, thank you for the coverage of the elections. I remember when you guys covered Trump's rallies. We still do cover President Trump's rallies. By the way, the only reason we weren't at the Luther Strange President Trump rallies, it was not a President Trump rally. It was a Luther Strange rally where President Trump went to spoke. We will be at all of President Trump's rallies in the future. Let's see. Jason says McConnell and Luther's campaign lost an election that Strange had in the bag. Now, I don't know if the election was in the bag, because in the primary, Strange didn't even win that. But you think that McConnell and Luther's campaign didn't do a good job, it sounds like, Jason. Mike Donahue says, hey, Lookner, rooting for Moore and watching from Iowa. You just gained a new follower and fan. Thanks. Thank you, Mike. Glad you're enjoying the coverage. Okay, a lot of votes just came in. We are now have 32% of the precincts are reporting. 32%, about a third of the votes. And Roy Moore is still winning by almost 16%. It is not looking good for Luther Strange. Now, I will still say Birmingham, not many of the precincts are reporting. That's going to go more for Luther Strange. Mobile County might go more for Luther Strange. Only one precinct in there. So we can expect a lot more votes from Mobile County and Jefferson County, where Birmingham is, and those are expected to be more Strange. So we can expect, I would think, the lead to close a bit. But as of right now, things are not looking good for Luther Strange and looking quite good for Roy Moore. Dar Smith says, Lou Dobbs covered this entire show. Hannity has only been on for 10 minutes. But isn't Lou Dobbs on Fox Business Network and not Fox Network? We just got a donation. David Morris gave $42, and says, Roy Moore is Captain America. Great coverage. Thank you. Thank you, David. Now, why $42? That's my question. Why 40? I have a guess. Is it? Yeah, I have a little guess. Now, the 42nd president was Bill Clinton, so I'm guessing you're not donating $42 because of the 42nd president. But thank you for the donation. Michael Ross gave $50. He says, thanks for what you do. I feel like I'm the first to know when news breaks. Tonight, the rhinos are trembling. Thank you, Michael Ross. Yeah, we try to come on air as soon as we can with breaking news. For those of you who watch us, even if it's like the middle of the night, as long as we're awake, we come on the air with breaking news. So be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube if you want to get our breaking news videos, and hit the notifications bell. But I really appreciate the donations. To repeat, we're only on the air covering this because you support us. We're viewer supported. And so your support helps us keep on the air and give you coverage like this. So I am reading some of your comments as we pay attention to the votes here. Canadian Media Bias says, Canada for more big league. Make Alabama great again. GWA Super PAC writes, at Lookner, good coverage. Moore is strong on border security. Check out buildthegreatwallofamerica.com to donate to get the wall funded by the people. So I'm not familiar with that site, by the way, so I'm not endorsing it, but you can feel free to check it out if you'd like. Corey Anderson says, Judge Roy Moore will win, I proclaim in Jesus' name. Do your job says, awesome coverage. Thanks, Lookner to Las Vegas watching. Eric Chamberlain, thank you for watching. A lot of people from around the country watching. We're happy to be covering this for you. Old Guy 1947 says, Do you think Judge Moore can get the big dollars for the real election, or will the GOP big donors turn their backs on him? Well, I don't know how much big dollars he'll need for the real election because, well, he'll need some money, but it's going to be tough for a Democrat to win in Alabama. I saw a recent poll about a hypothetical matchup had Roy Moore way ahead against Doug Jones, who's the Democratic winner. Not to say it won't be closer than that, but he seems pretty popular in Alabama, at least as these votes are showing us. And Kane Zim just gave $50. Thank you, Kane, very much. Says, make California great again. Vote Omar Navarro. Omar Navarro is running against Maxine Waters in California. And Elmer Wright gave $14.88. Thank you so much, Elmer, for the donation. Very nice of you. Hey, we have some more votes in. 35% reporting. The lead has shrunk a little bit, as we said might happen, especially when some of the urban areas come in a little more urban areas. The lead is still 15.4%. It's sizable, and 35% of the votes are in. So we're getting to the point where it's going to be very tough for. We're at the point where it's going to be very tough for Luther Strange to overcome this lead. Shane says, keep up the great coverage. RSBN is killing mainstream media. Well, at least we're covering it. I'm surprised. I thought mainstream media would be covering this more tonight. I mean, it's an important story. Deplorable Dorothy says, you're doing a fantastic job covering the Alabama Senate election results. Thank you. I'm watching on your YouTube. Much love for Tennessee. Thanks, Deplorable Dorothy. Ricky Vaughn 2.0 says, whoever just wrote into Lookner saying Bill Clinton forces himself on women drinks on me. Chris Brown says, I think this is the most excited I am for an election since Trump's win. Sean Piakuk, I think it's I don't know if it's, I'm going to say Pie Cooch, but maybe you're making a cuck C-U-C-K reference. Pie Cooch, Piasuch, says, biggest applause line at Oak Hollow last night by the judge. We need to get rid of Mitch McConnell. Dar Smith says, Alabamans do not fault President Trump. We support MAGA agenda. More leads all who care to challenge rhinos. God opens doors for us. So we are watching this election. We're at 35% right now, the votes in. Roy Moore, ever since the votes started coming in significantly, has been up by about, at least the last half an hour or 45 minutes, it seems like he's been up by about 15 to 17%. And right now he's up by 15.5%. Smack McDougal says, pay attention, Mobile County has flipped for more. Trump wanted to go to Mobile. Luther wanted him north. Now, I did notice, actually, thanks for reminding me, that Mobile now was more than Strange, but it's a very small amount of people reporting from Mobile. Mobile only had one precinct in before, and now it has 16 precincts out of the 191. We'll keep an eye on that. Hey, someone just donated. It was Carl Peterson, longtime supporter of Right Side. Thank you, Carl. Carl says, gave 1958 and said, thank you, RSBN. Moore will win easily. MAGA continues. Sots Locke gave $5 and says, yes, it's me again. Thank you, Sots Locke. Thank you, RSBN. And Steed Rock gave $5 and says, I am glad for Moore, and I am an Alabamian, but I am in Columbus State University in Georgia, so I can't vote. Sad face, aka keep up the coverage. Yes, we will keep up the coverage tonight for you guys. 38% of the votes in. Roy Moore is now at 15.6%. 38% of the votes in. I'm wondering soon, do you think soon? I mean, I have to imagine that it seems like it's really getting to the point where Luther Strange has basically no chance. Now, he has a chance because the votes aren't counted, but it seems that, I'm guessing the people who follow elections, well, like, as we said before, Dave Wasserman, who's an elections expert, he, 25 minutes ago projected projected this for Roy Moore. Now, we're not going to hit here and say here Roy Moore won because we're still counting the votes. But what I'm wondering is, at a certain point, if experts look at this and say, hey, we can tell right now that Roy Moore is going to win, does Luther Strange concede at some point? Does Luther Strange wait till all the votes are counted? Don't know. We'll keep an eye out to hear. We're going to hopefully bring you the speeches. If we get speeches from both candidates, we'll hopefully bring those to you tonight. Let's see. Jeremy Miller says, mainstream media wants to break in. Breaking, Trump suffers stunning blow in Alabama after NFL comments. Now, I'm not sure if you're saying that's happening on mainstream media or it will happen. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened, though, Jeremy. Trump the winner says, since Right Side is from Alabama, who are you rooting for? I listened to more Fantastic Orator, 10 Commandments. Hey, Right Side, we're agenda free. We don't tell you what to think. We're rooting for a fair election and a good election. That's what we're rooting for. Caleb Epperson says, we need a guy in office with a pair, like Roy Moore. Agnes Day Farm says, been knowing Chief Justice Roy Moore for 25 plus years, proved, tried, and tested. You're watching Right Side Broadcasting's live coverage. We are covering live. Throughout, we've been here since the beginning tonight, since before they started counting votes. The Alabama Senate runoff election. Mainstream media, including Fox News, doesn't seem to think this is important enough to give you live, continuous coverage of the election. But we think it's important, so we're doing it. And thank you for joining us. Thank you for the moderators who've been in the chat room moderating the chat. I know it's been busy in the chat room tonight. Moderators doing a great job, and on the web chat too, on the website. And thanks to all of you for watching. Thank you to everybody who's donated. Your donations, they mean so much to us because that's how we stay on the air. We literally couldn't be on the air without your donations. We're viewer supported. So if you like our coverage and you want to donate, we'd really appreciate it. You can go to the YouTube chat room right next to the broadcast on YouTube and click the $ at the bottom of the YouTube chat. There's a little $ there. You can click on that, or go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. You can also follow us on Facebook. We post videos there, Right Side Broadcasting. And feel free, if you enjoy the video, to like it on YouTube and share it on Facebook. We're so small, we can't even afford to advertise. So when you like our videos and you share our videos, that's a big help to us. And also, we're taking your comments here. We've been taking your comments throughout the night, hearing what you have to say about this election. Write to me on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner. Feel free to follow me on Twitter too at Lookner. I cover a lot of breaking news stuff if you like that kind of thing. So new votes in, 41% reporting. It's narrowed a little bit. Okay, maybe we have more Jefferson County votes. The lead is still sizable. It's 13.8%. But it has narrowed down from it was a 17% lead before. Now it's at 13.8%. Now let's see, Birmingham. Yes, there are some more votes coming in from Jefferson County. I'm sure there's a lot more to come there. We have some votes from Madison County. Luther Strange is winning there, but that's almost half the votes are in from, half the precincts are in from that county. So it doesn't look like Luther Strange is going to be that ahead in that county. And you can see he's only winning 4 counties right now, at least. The other 2 are Calhoun County, where Luther Strange is barely winning, and Hale County, where only 6 votes are in. So still a sizable lead for Roy Moore over Luther Strange. Dweeb Screed gave $2 and said, here from reddit.com/r/the Donald. Thank you for coming over for Reddit and watching our broadcast, Dweeb Screed. And thank you so much for donating, Dweeb Screed. We appreciate all the people from Reddit, from the Donald at Reddit, who watch our network. When we cover the rallies, sometimes I meet people and they come up to us and they say, we're on the Reddit site and we follow you guys on the web and we watch your broadcast. So thank you for watching. CMK says, chances of Trump congratulating Moore on Twitter tonight? I don't know. We were speculating about this earlier. I don't know, if Roy Moore wins, as it looks increasingly like he's going to, will Donald Trump say something about it on Twitter tonight? Don't know. Zantog says, have you heard of Ben Shapiro? He does a great podcast on conservative talk points. Yeah, I have heard some of his podcasts. If you haven't, you might want to check them out, see if it's something you like. Hey, Dee Righteous gave $50 and said, RSBN rocks, go Steve. Thank you, Dee Righteous. That's very kind of you. We really appreciate that. Get to some more of your messages here. We have, did that go up a little tick? It's now 42% reporting. It was 41 before, I think. Or maybe it was 42. I can't remember. We'll keep an eye on it. Hang on 1 second here, guys. I'm just texting Joe, who's producing tonight. And we're still at 42% reporting, so we'll keep an eye on those figures. And I have some more messages from you. Give me a shout. Let me know what you're thinking about this election tonight. At Lookner on Twitter, at Lookner. Okay, so I'm going to take... Oh, I just got a message saying that somebody called it for more, but actually they just did. Look. It just got called. The New York Times now has Moore called as the election winner. So the New York Times has called Roy Moore as the election winner tonight. Let's see. I wonder on Twitter if I can find more stuff here or on other sources. But it looks like the election has been called, at least by the New York Times, for Roy Moore. Oh, and I guess we called it too. So we're seeing a live look inside the Luther Strange campaign headquarters, and yes, and we are now calling right side. We're making our call that Roy Moore is projected winner of the runoff election for the Republican primary in Alabama. I'm going to change my headline here. Hang on a second while I do that. Let me replace the headline here. There we go. We have it up there. Roy Moore wins the Alabama runoff election. He's a projected winner. He is currently ahead by 13.8%, but he is the projected winner. So President Trump endorsed Luther Strange, but hold on 1 second here. I got a text from my boss, Joe. Yes, Joe, I saw that up there. Thank you. So President Trump did endorse Luther Strange, but he also said that President Trump at the Strange rally that he would support Judge Roy Moore if Judge Roy Moore won tonight. And so Judge Roy Moore still has to run against the Democratic candidate, Doug Jones, and that election is in December in Alabama. But he will be the strong favorite to win the Senate seat in Alabama in December in that final election. By the way, thank you. We got a donation. I want to say thanks. Esseroff gave $10 and said, Senator Roy Moore. Thank you, Esseroff. He's not senator quite yet. He still has to win the general election, but we do appreciate the donation. And now some more votes just came in. Roy Moore's lead is back up to 14.4% with 45% of the votes in. Roy Moore is leading. He has, let's see here, 112,000 or so votes to Luther Strange's 84,000 votes or so. So Roy Moore is a projected winner. I want to keep reading your comments. What do you think about this? Write to me at Lookner. Let me know your thoughts on the Roy Moore being projected. And also, we have a live look at the Roy Moore campaign headquarters. I assume we'll hear Roy Moore speak. We're going to bring you that. And also, we will bring you, if Luther Strange speaks, we will bring you that as well. So Roy Moore is the projected winner tonight. And Joe, let me know if we're going to go there. Are we going there, Joe? I'm going to text Joe and see if we're going there. We have video of it. I don't know if we're going to get the sound of it yet. So let's see. I'm waiting to get word from Joe whether we're going to go to this or not. Joe, someone is speaking there. Sorry, guys. We're just figuring out. Okay, so we're going to go soon to, I think, Roy Moore headquarters. Joe will let me know exactly when we go there. So for now, I want you to see, though, the current state of the election. Well, Roy Moore is the winner, projected winner, but his lead is back up to 14.4%. Okay, and I'm going to take a break while Joe Seals, the CEO of Right Side Broadcasting, is come on for a minute now and talk to you for a second. I'm going to disappear for about a minute or two, and you will hear Joe Seals, the CEO of Right Side, come on. So I'm going to disappear right now, and Joe Seals will come on right now to talk to you, and I'll be right back.
Hey folks, thanks for joining us here. Joe Seals here live in the RSPN studios in Auburn. We hope that you are enjoying our coverage so far. We have wall-to-wall coverage so far. We're looking right now live at the Roy Moore campaign headquarters and also the Luther Strange campaign headquarters. We have Colin the race tonight for Judge Roy Moore. Judge Roy Moore is the projected winner of the Alabama United States Senate primary runoff. He will go on to face the Democratic challenger next November in the midterm election. So Right Side Broadcasting projects Judge Roy Moore the winner of the Alabama United States Senate primary runoff. So we will hear from Judge Roy Moore, and also we will hear from wow, the voice input is very loud, I hear. How about that? There we go. That's a little bit better. We are going to hear the speeches live tonight. As they happen, we're going to hear from Judge Roy Moore, and if Luther Strange gives a concession speech, we will also cover that live here. We're looking at the vote totals now, and they are still coming in, but right now with 45%, that should be changed. We'll change that here right now, folks. With 46% of the vote in, it looks like that Judge Roy Moore is up 57.1% to 42.9%. So the lead is staying around 15 points for Judge Roy Moore with 46% of the precincts, and that is enough for us to declare Roy Moore the winner of the Alabama U.S. Senate primary runoff. So filling in for Steve Lookner, he is a hard act to follow. So I am very sorry because I am not the professional that Steve is. So I'm doing my best to hold down the fort for him until he gets back. We really appreciate all of you viewers tonight joining us for our live coverage. We will have the speeches coming up very soon. I expect that there will be some kind of concession speech soon from Senator Luther Strange's campaign. And also, let's see, is Steve ready to come back? Okay, we're going to kick it over to Steve Lookner now, who is live back in our other studio. So, Steve, if you're ready, go ahead.
Okay, I am back. Thank you, Joe, CEO of Right Side. We are waiting to go live and hear Roy Moore speak. I don't know if we're going to hear Luther Strange speak. I would assume we might hear both of them speak. So we're going to bring you those speeches, live coverage, our live coverage here of the election. And so we're looking forward to hearing both those speeches. And we now have over 50% of the votes in. So there is a question right now of how big the lead is going to be in this election. With 51% reporting now, Roy Moore has 56.8% of the vote, and Luther Strange has 43.2% of the vote. And so Roy Moore is up by 13.5% with 51% reporting. We're looking at the Roy Moore campaign headquarters, and as soon as he comes out and speaks, we're gonna listen and hear what he has to say. But obviously, a celebratory atmosphere there tonight. And also, feel free to message me if you have comments about the election. Give me a shout on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner. Oops. Can't stump the Trump writes in, I'm just upset that the GOP wasted so much money fighting another Republican instead of fighting Democrats. You're talking about all the establishment money that was spent on Luther Strange. Let's see here. Getting some more of your comments while I have the chance. Agnes Day Farm says, I want to hear Mitch McConnell tonight. David Ops says, Fox has also called it. Moore has won. Central Florida for Trump says, looks like the Russians hacked another election. When will media, Democrats, and Democrats realize that we outnumber them big league? Jeremy Miller says, please tell the viewers to watch the Right Side Broadcasting live rally coverage from Monday to make their opinion of Moore. He will support Trump. So if you missed the Roy Moore rally from Monday, we have it all posted on Right Side Broadcasting on YouTube. You can watch there. You can watch Steve Bannon speak from there. Rocky Sanchez writes in, Roy Moore wins, yes. Drain the swamp. MAGA, USA, America first. Trump the winner says, congratulations, Alabama. You elect a true Christian to win the general election. Love Right Side Broadcasting. Thanks for saying that, Trump the winner. Scott Thorson says, great job. There's a niche here corporate news refused to fill. They're too busy with agenda-driven news to be bothered by events. Thank you, Scott. Cindy Lopez says, watching from Oklahoma. Thank you, Alabama. Chris Brown says, I've seen multiple sources say he won. Yes, as we reported, a number of sources and are projecting Roy Moore to win. We are also projecting him to win. And yeah, so we're just waiting. We're waiting to hear right now. Let me get you the latest numbers here. 53% of the votes are now in. 53% of the votes, and Roy Moore is still leading by 13.4%, with 53% in. Now, I'm wondering. It looks like about the same turnout. You're going to about roughly the same amount of votes you're going to have for this vote, for this. Runoff as you had during the primary election. The primary election, there were about 420,000 votes cast. And we're also taking your comments here. So I've been reading some of them. Thanks for writing in. Central Florida for Trump says, do you think, sorry guys. Central Florida for Trump says, do you think Lawrence O'Donnell is currently screaming, stop the hammering? Patriot of Truth writes in, God bless Sweet Home Alabama. Mitchell Ferguson says, Judge Moore should upgrade his sidearm. The swamp is dark and full of terrors. MAGA. Dar Smith says, Sean Hannity and Bill O'Reilly are honestly discussing the Moore Senate win. So they are discussing it, according to Dar Smith. So we're still at 53% of the vote in, and we're just waiting right now. I would have to think that very soon Luther Strange and or Roy Moore will speak, because we already have 53% of the vote in. Roy Moore is up by 13.5%. All these big news outlets, Fox and New York Times, have projected Roy Moore the winner. So it just seems like at a certain point, we're going to have speeches soon. Tom Clark gave $10 and said, great job, Steve and RSBN. Thank you, Tom Clark. Oh, and we just heard Joe just let me know. Joe Seals, our CEO, just let me know that Strange is going to concede shortly. We have a report in that Luther Strange will be conceding shortly. So we will bring you that. And just to show you what the election results here are so far, we're still looking at this. 13.5% lead for Roy Moore. Projected as the winner. Luther Strange very shortly will be speaking, and we will bring you that live. Steve Brocious writes in, great coverage, thanks from Elko, Nevada. Thanks for watching, Steve. The Associated Press has also called Moore beating Strange. And Strange is now the first incumbent primary senator ousted in a primary since Dick Lugar in 2012. Let's see here. Mitchell Ferguson. Oh, no, we already read that for Mitchell Ferguson. Trump the winner writes in, looks like God showed up again. If I lived in Alabama, he would be my senator. General, no problem. General election, no problem, no matter how much dollars Soros spends. So we are awaiting. Oh, Elizabeth Luker made another. I think that's your fourth one tonight, Elizabeth. Thank you. Steve, go to Moore's Facebook page if you can. He is live. Siren Stacy just spoke. So we have a feed of Roy Moore. And we're going to be bringing you his speech as soon as he speaks. So thank you for the heads up, Elizabeth. Dar Smith writes, I love when Lion Luther comes up short. We now have 57% of the votes of the precincts in. 57% are in. And Roy Moore is still up by 13.6%. Dr. S. Taylor just gave $20 and said, very thankful for your great work. Thank you for that donation. Your donations help keep us on the air. We can't be on the air without your guys' support, so we really appreciate the donations tonight. And don't forget to know when we're coming on the air with breaking news videos. We're going to Luther Strange right now. We're going to Luther Strange right now.
He helped straighten out Montgomery so that they're honest politicians that serve, and Luther stood for honesty. He's a man that we are proud of. He can be proud of. We congratulate the opposition. But tonight, I give you our friend, a man that we are all love, and even more so, we're proud of everything you've done, Senator Luther Strange.
Well, thank you all for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is a night to say thank you to each and every one of you who are here tonight. This is not the result that we wanted, but I've congratulated Judge Moore. I've already talked to him on the phone. Melissa and I wish him the best. We're Republicans. We care very much about this country, care very much about this state, and we wish him the best going forward as he faces the next challenge. You know, one of my favorite prayers that I really lean on asks us to give thanks to God for setting us at tasks that teach us to rely on Him alone. The hard tasks, the things that are tough, that in the end of the day, you have to rely on something way more powerful than yourself. You're navigating through waters you don't always understand. And if at the end of that voyage, you end up thinking, who can I rely on? It's God. That's the kind of prayer that really means something. And boy, have we set ourselves to a task in this race. It absolutely was a task of a lifetime. We're dealing with a political environment that I've never had any experience with. I worked in the North Sea as a merchant marine with my friend Neil Elliott. We had some rough seas. We had some seas that almost turned us over. But I'm telling you, the seas, the political winds in this country right now are very hard to navigate. They're very hard to understand. So it's been a tough deal. I couldn't be any prouder of the campaign that we ran. You know, I'm an old athlete, basketball player, and we left everything out on the field. There's nothing else, or if you want to use the court analogy, on the court. We did everything we possibly could. I wouldn't change it at all. There's a lot of winds blowing politically, as I said. It'll take a scorecard to sort all that out, a lot of agendas in this country. I'm going to leave it to the pundits to figure all that out. My focus has always been on Alabama, people of our great state, and really making a difference. I'll take comfort in the words of President Teddy Roosevelt, who said it's really not the pundits, the critics that count. It's the man in the arena, or the man and woman, or the woman who's in the arena. They're the ones that really make the difference. And I'm going to continue to do everything I can to encourage our citizens, especially our young folks, to get involved in the arena. We have to have them involved. That's the future of our state. So what I want to do is what I've always wanted to do, and I would have said this if I'd won or lost. I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to every single person in this room, every single person. I grew up less than a mile from here, and from coaches to teachers to Young Life ministers and mentors and friends and best friends. They shaped me to be who I am. And to be back here, a stone's throw from where I went to elementary school, to say thank you for your votes, your prayers, your encouragement, just the kindness along the trail in a very harsh and tough political environment. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. Give yourselves a hand, really. Thank you so much. I want to say thank you to the citizens of Alabama. You know, I've been very lucky. It's kind of like sports. Maybe that prepared me for this. You win some games. I've lost some last-second games. I've won some last-second games. I played in overtime. You go back in the locker room, and you think, what could I have done different? Everybody tomorrow will have an opinion about what pass we should have thrown or what play we should have called or whatever. I'm not going to lose any sleep tonight. We did the right thing. We did it the right way. And I want to say, I want to say thank you to the citizens of this state, not just friends and supporters and people who voted for me, but all the citizens of this state. I've been honored to serve for 6 years as Attorney General during the most contentious times in recent state history, where we had to clean up Montgomery, where we had to get justice for the Gulf of Mexico and the biggest environmental disaster. I was lucky enough to serve in the United States Senate at a time when we have a new president, a time when we can confirm conservative judges to the Supreme Court, a time we could really make a difference. So I've been blessed, and I want to thank the citizens for giving me the highest honor I can possibly imagine. All across the state, as you're listening tonight, I want to just say thank you to you. I want to say thank you to my campaign team. They're here. They've worked their you-know-what's off, and I want to thank them. It's not for lack of a good campaign team. It all boils down to the person who was running, and I take full responsibility for success and failure. I've had plenty of success, and I haven't won everyone either, and I want to take responsibility for that, and I do that. I want to thank my office staff and everybody that works for me in Washington. If you'd raise your hands, I know lots of them are here. I wish you'd give them a hand, folks. They work tirelessly for the citizens of Alabama, and they do it because they love our state, and they're going to continue to do that for the remaining time that I'm in the Senate. They are magnificent public servants, and I want to thank them. Kevin Turner, my chief of staff, needs special recognition. I know Kevin's here somewhere. I won't seek him out, but Kevin's the kind of sharp young person you need to be successful in politics. Started out as driving me around and ended up being my chief of staff as AG in the Senate, and has not only been a great campaign friend, but also a great public servant, and has given up a lot of opportunity to do that and serve the people of this state. And I just want him to know how much I appreciate that. I want to thank the President of the United States. Let's thank the President. The President took a chance. He didn't have to come down. I'm sure he'll be criticized for coming to campaign for me. That's what loyal friends do. Sometimes it's more than politics. Sometimes it's about just a friendship, just a common goal to make the country better, and to bond when you come to Washington as a newcomer, if you will, and you sort of see the shoals you got to navigate. I can't explain why he was willing to take that risk, except that he's a friend and a loyal friend. And if this causes him any trouble, it's not his fault. The fault always lies in the candidate or the head coach or the guy who's holding the ball, and that's my responsibility. I want to thank the Vice President. He came here last night. He's a great conservative leader, the President of the Senate, a guy I've gotten to know over time, a great conservative Christian person of great faith. Driving to the rally last night, many of you attended, we got a chance to talk about what was really important. And he said, Luther, really, I'm glad to be here for you, but there's so many bigger things involved in the world than just one political campaign. Keep your eye on the ball. You and Melissa are a wonderful couple. For a person to come with all things going on in the world and say that about you and willing to sacrifice, that's the kind of person you want in a foxhole. And America's lucky to have Mike Pence as our vice president. Very lucky. I want to thank Richard Shelby. I took his place as the tallest guy in the Senate. I set a record as tallest guy in the Senate, but Richard was a friend for 30 years. He took me under his arm when I came to Washington, has been a great mentor, has supported me throughout this process. And when things get tough, it's always nice to have a guy you can go walk down the hall and say, have you ever seen anything like this? And he's been in politics for a long time, and he had to say the other day, I've never seen anything like this. Nobody's seen anything like this. I want to thank Jeff Sessions. Jeff Sessions was my mentor when I came into politics. Jeff got me into politics. He was a great Attorney General, and I was glad to take his place as Attorney General and follow his lead. He was a great senator for 20 years, and I was honored to take his place in the United States Senate and to sit in the seat that he sits in now in the Senate. Jeff's going to be a great Attorney General for our country, and I want to thank Jeff and Mary for being such dear friends of ours. Finally, I want to thank my Senate colleagues. The Senate is a magnificent institution. In the short time I've been there, I've been able to sit and reflect on the great debates that have been held there. Think about the things that we argue about now. They seem kind of petty when you think about slavery. You think about civil rights, when you think about voting rights, when you think about wars, world wars. And even though we're in an incredibly contentious time with swirling passions, it's nothing compared to some of the things that have been handled in the United States Senate. And I will tell you right now, as someone who's been privileged to sit there, that it will be a magnificent place. It has its problems. People will get very frustrated with it. No one more frustrated than I. But I promise you, the problems facing our country will be solved there. The friends I've made there will be lifelong friends. And I want you to have confidence in the institutions of this country as I do. So let's give a hand to the Senate and the colleagues there. And finally, you thought I was going to forget this. The most important thing that I can say tonight is how much I appreciate Melissa and my family. She has put up with more than any one person should have to bear. And she really learned what, for better or worse, really means. But for 36 years, it's been all for the better. And 1 week ago tonight, 7 days ago, almost exactly, I got to hold my second grandson in my arms, young James Strange, who came into the world. And I'll tell you, as we face this whirlwind and this unpredictable political environment, to hold him in my hands and look at the next generation and say, wow, why do we really do this? Why do you put yourself through this? Why do you really care? Why do you fight these wars? It's for that generation. It's for those beautiful young children that are going to come next after us. It really is. So let me leave you with this. I'll leave you with what I have on my bedside. And I look at it every morning, and Melissa gets tired of me talking about it, but we both look at it together because it's right there. It's my favorite Bible verse, and it's one that someone gave me when I came into politics. And it's Proverbs 19:21. And it says, many are the plans in a man's heart, but it's the Lord's purpose that will prevail. I truly believe that. I take that to heart every day. And I have no doubt of the truth of that verse as I leave here tonight. So I want to say one more time, thank you, thank you, thank you to each and every one of you in this room, from both of us, from all of our hearts. God bless each and every one of you, and good night. Thank you.
Okay, so that was Luther Strange conceding to Roy Moore. Luther Strange concedes. We're going to hear from Roy Moore soon, I assume. And when we hear from Roy Moore, when he comes out and speaks, we will have that live for you as well. Roy Moore is the projected winner tonight in the Alabama runoff election. Roy Moore will be running in the general election in December against Democrat Doug Jones. Roy Moore will be the heavy favorite in that election, and the winner of that election is the next senator from Alabama. You can see the votes right. We have 67% of the votes are in right now. 67% of the votes are in. 67% of the precincts are in, and Roy Moore has a lead of 13%, so it looks like Roy Moore is going to have a significant victory tonight, and we are just waiting for him to come out and speak, and we'll bring you his speech as soon as he comes out to speak, which should be very soon, just moments now. And just want to say thanks. We just got a donation. Sound Creation just gave $5 Canadian and said, thanks, Steve and RSBN. Your positivity and high energy make these live streams enjoyable to watch. We need more RSBN and reporters like you in Canada. Thank you, Sound Creation. Your donations really do keep us on the air, so if you enjoy that we've had full coverage tonight We've been on the air since before the polls closed, covering this election because we thought it was important to cover it. So if you enjoy that, please consider donating so we can afford to cover events in the future. We are viewer supported. Your donations keep us on the air. If you want to donate, you can go to the YouTube chat room and click on the $ at the bottom of the YouTube chat, right next to the broadcast, or go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. And again, we are just waiting to hear from Judge Roy Moore. He is a sizable lead. His lead is now, all right, so 72% of the votes of the precincts are in. 72%. We're getting way up there. And Roy Moore still has, the lead's a little less, 12.6% lead. So, and he is a projected winner. It's a significant victory for Roy Moore. And we're also reading your comments that you send in. We'd like to know, what do you think about the election victory, about the margin of victory? What do you think about Luther Strange's concession speech? Sounded very gracious to me. And let us know. Write to me on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner. Let me know your thoughts. Time Traveler just gave $100. It's very generous of you. That's really nice, Time Traveler. Time Traveler says, love right side. Moore wins the general, believe me. Right side, I have been a viewer since Trump ran. Love you all. Trump helped Luther from losing by a large margin. Thank you, POTUS. And thank you, Time Traveler. That's really nice of you. And it's like, that'll just help us be on the air and cover more events like this. Especially events like this, mainstream media basically wasn't covering it at all tonight. We checked earlier, and they really weren't covering it. They might have broken in to cover it, but now I'm sure I've already seen a couple tweets from mainstream media people saying, person Trump supported loses, but we actually brought you we wanted to cover the voting and as the votes came in, and we thought that was important. So thank you. And Maritza Manasian just gave $2 and said, good job, Alabama. Thank you, Maritza, for the donation. Let's see here. We're going to Roy Moore now. Roy Moore, we're going to hear his victory speech right now live.
Okay. Hey, Susie, it's Rich. It's Rich Hobson. Okay. I'm coming back home. Okay. I'm coming back home. I miss you. All right. Yeah, it's been a great summer, but it has been kind of a long summer. But it has been wonderful, and it's been a blessing. And he's just about to come out here. So let's rev it up. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, one little ground rule, and the media asked me to say this, okay? All right, so if you can, okay, the flags and the signs and everything, they're asking if you can kind of keep it down a little bit for the headshot. I'm sorry, I'm throwing that out. They're making me be the messenger, the bad messenger. All right. But I'm for you. Yeah. Yeah. All righty. Okay, well, the next time we come out here, it's all happening. Who's with me? Yeah! All right, we'll be right back. The media asked me to say this, okay? All right, so if you can, okay, the flags and the signs and everything, they're asking if you can kind of keep it down a little bit for the headshot.
So we're here right now. We are waiting for Roy Moore's speech, and Roy Moore, we thought he was going to come out, and he hasn't come out yet. As soon as he comes out, we're going to bring that to you. We had a bit of a false alarm here. So we're bringing you Roy Moore. Any minute now, Roy Moore will be out for his victory speech, and we will bring that to you live. You're watching Right Side Broadcasting's coverage. Well, while we went away for a minute, it's now 74% of the precincts are in. Roy Moore is winning by 12.6%. He has 56.3% of the vote. Luther Strange has 43.7% of the vote. So it looks like a significant win for Roy Moore. And let's see here. We are looking to see if he's coming. He should be coming out any time now. So again, we're sort of playing. We're keeping our eye on this because we want to get to him right as he comes out. And in the meantime, I'm going to just look at some of your messages here while I have a chance. Patriot of Truth says, Strange is honestly a hypocrite. A lot of good words, but not great actions. If you have... By the way, I forgot to thank Doyle, Andrews, and Light Switch for your donations. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's see. I'm looking over here. Dar Smith writes that Luther Strange and Bentley allowed Moore to be removed as Chief Justice. Amazing how our actions can haunt us. Let's see here. Devin Hall says, Devin from Jamaica, drain the swamp and vote Roy Moore. You see how Snake, McCain, and Ryan do not support the president's agenda. Stephen Carusoni just gave $2 and said, the Trump-McConnell alliance is about to end. Thank you, Stephen, for the donation. Very nice of you. OG writes in, looks like the people are sending a message to all the establishment. This is about the people, nothing else. Fish Fry says, Luther Strange is a good candidate, needs to move to New York and run for Senate. Wink sign, worked for Hillary. Let's see here. Agnes Day Farm writes in, Mitch, probably not a good idea tonight to go for a swim in the swamp. We understand an Alabama tsunami is headed your way. So we are here just waiting. Any minute now, Judge Roy Moore will come out and give his victory speech. We will bring that to you live. This is Right Side Broadcasting. We've been covering this election, and Roy Moore is the winner. Judge Roy Moore is going to have a significant win. We're going to the speech now, so enjoy the speech from Roy Moore.
Prayed for a long time. We didn't know what God's answer was going to be, but we knew God was in this. And we've got an exciting thing to tell you tonight, because we have a great candidate that's gone through the long haul of this campaign, and we got a little ways to go yet. But tonight, we're so honored to be able to have with us a special guest that's going to introduce the judge. We've got one of the most conservative thought leaders in America with us tonight. You know him nationally. You've seen him on TV. He's been in the White House. He's now heading up Breitbart News. Help me welcome Mr. Steve Bannon.
I told you all last night that a vote for Judge Roy Moore is a vote for Donald J. Trump. And I want to thank all the good folks in Alabama for supporting Donald Trump today by voting for Judge Moore. As you all remember, last night we talked about starting a revolution with Judge Moore's victory. Well, Senator Corker stepped down today. He's not going to run for re-election. And you're going to see in state after state after state people that follow the model of Judge Moore, that do not need to raise money from the elites, from the crony capitalists, from the fat cats in Washington, D.C., New York City, Silicon Valley. This campaign was outrageous. $30 million spent against about 2.5, all in the politics of personal destruction against one of the finest men in this country, Judge Roy Moore. The question was called today in the state of Alabama. Who's sovereign, the people or the money? And Alabama answered today, the people. Thank you very much.
Here he is, Judge Roy Moore, the next United States Senator from Alabama.
Thank you. Thank you. You see my family up here, my sons, Caleb, Roy, and Kaya, Roy's wife. Of course, my wife. I've got my young mother of 90 years old standing down here. I've got my brothers, my sisters, and I appreciate all the people that come tonight. I want to get my staff up here just a moment, if you will. The people that have worked on my staff, if they'll come up here. Brett, Drew, Thomas, y'all come up here a minute. Let's give them some room. Dean. You know, there's so many people that worked on the staff that should be recognized. Thomas here Thomas Sparrow has done a wonderful job. I like to say I taught this guy to run, but I didn't. This is Saran Stacy. He's done a great job. And of course, my chairman, got to have a chairman, and this guy's the best in Alabama.
Right.
Bill Armistead. Brett Doster. John Walls. Y'all give them a hand. But you know, there's Rich Hobson's here somewhere. I don't know where he got. My good friend Dean Young, Mr. Brant Frost and his daughters, Katie, and somewhere I've missed the Ford family. That's half the. There they are, right there. Give the Ford family. And I have my security man for 15 years. He's come back to visit me. This is Leonard Holyfield. There's one you don't see up here. Let me just tell you, he's done more for my campaign than anybody. And that's Almighty God. Amen. I want everybody to understand that when I talk about God in this campaign, I've never prayed to win this campaign. I've only prayed that God's will be done. Because I think you can sometimes win on your own, and it's not a good thing. And sometimes you can lose, and it's the best thing. But the best thing we can do is put it in the hands of the Almighty. And as Saran was saying, there's nothing too great for God. For one day every valley shall be exalted, and every mountain or hill shall be made low. And the crooked shall be made straight, and the rough places plain. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. For the mouth of the Lord has spoken it. The voice said, cry. And he said, what shall I cry? All flesh is grass, and all the goodness thereof is the flower of the field. The grass withereth, the flower fadeth, because the Spirit of the Lord bloweth upon it. Surely the people is grass. The grass withereth, the flower fadeth, but the word of our God shall stand forever. You know, we're put here on earth for a short time. And for that short time, our duty is to serve Almighty God and to acknowledge Him in all things. I've just been talking. I've talked to the governor who's congratulated me, Governor Ivey. I've talked to Mr. Strange, who has recognized that I've won and that he would work with me. I've talked to Senator Lee, Senator Paul, Rand Paul, and Senator Cruz, and various others that are important in our government. Together we can make America great. We can support the president. Don't let anybody in the press think that because he supported my opponent that I do not support him and support his agenda. As long as it's constitutional, as long as it advances our society, our culture, our country, I will be supportive. As long as it's constitutional. But we have to return the knowledge of God and the Constitution of the United States to the United States Congress. I believe we can make America great, but we must make America good, and you cannot make America good without acknowledging the sovereign source of that goodness, the sovereign source of our law, liberty, and government, which is Almighty God. We have become a nation that has distanced ourselves from the very foundation. Washington said that of all the dispositions and habits which lead to political prosperity, religion and morality are indispensable sports. We've got to recognize that we've been separated by something that separation of church and state doesn't stand for. It doesn't separate us from God. Nothing can separate us from God. We are one nation under God, and we can become one nation unified. There's so much division in our society. Protest, demonstrations, mobs, racial strife. But we're all created in the image of God. I recall what Harry Truman said in his inaugural address. The American people stand firm in the faith which has inspired this nation from the beginning. We believe that all people are created in the image of God, and from that faith we will not be moved. We've been moved, but we can move back. God can still bring us back. You know, the Constitution has been my life. I was sworn many, many years ago to the United States Constitution on the banks of the Hudson River as a cadet at the United States Military Academy. I fought in a war to defend that Constitution. I fought in the courts against liberal judges that have usurped their authority on that Constitution. And I'll fight for you at the United States Senate. I'll fight for the people of this state and of this nation who want to bring our country back to its greatness. And we can, and we will. And thank you very much for your support. This is a time for victory. It's a time to remember the struggles we've gone through, but it's also time to rededicate our lives to God and to the Constitution and to our country, to our families. Let's go again and make America great. Thank you. May God bless you in the state of Alabama. Thank you. The struggles we've gone through.
Hey, everybody. We're back here. Sorry, we're
lives.
listening to the end of that speech from Roy Moore. And Roy Moore just gave his victory speech. We heard from Luther Strange conceding, Roy Moore giving his victory speech. Roy Moore has won tonight a convincing victory, a sizable victory in Alabama. With 82% of the precincts reporting, he is up by 11.6%. So it looks like if the trends continue, we're going to have a margin of around 10% for the victory, but it's definitely a sizable victory for Roy Moore. So now that we know that Roy Moore has won, and we've heard from Roy Moore, we've heard from Luther Strange, something we want to do now is talk about with you guys, what do you think this means? What does this all mean? Do you think this has a larger meaning tonight? Do you think this will have an effect on the 2018 elections? Do you think we might see more candidates like Roy Moore jump into the elections against, say, people like Jeff Flake, establishment Republicans? Do you think Republican incumbents are going to face primary challenges like Roy Moore, who watched tonight and said, look, Roy Moore, he wasn't an establishment figure. He was totally outspent. The president endorsed him. The Republican Senate leadership endorsed him. And he still won convincingly. Do you think that'll affect 2018? Will more candidates like that get in? And do you think, you might say, oh, other elections will go this way, or you might say, well, Alabama's kind of a unique case, and somebody like Roy Moore, it's going to be tough for them to win in another state. I don't know. I want to hear what you think about this. So write to me on Twitter at @Lookner, @LOOKNER. Would really love to hear your opinion on what does this election mean for 2018 in the future. Do you think this carries a larger meaning at all? It's always tough with state elections because you never know, like state elections, there are always certain factors that go on in a certain state. Like, as I said before, earlier tonight, some people think that this governor scandal where the governor had these ethics charges and he had to resign, the governor of Alabama, that might have made the state of Alabama more open to somebody like Judge Roy Moore. And you might say, well, it's really a state thing and you can't really read national implications into this. But some people might say, no, you can read national implications to this. So we'd really like to hear what you have to say. Write to me on Twitter at Lookner and let me know what you think. So Patriot of Truth writes, we want more, that's for sure. Let's see, I'm going to check my messages in a second here. And you're watching Right Side Broadcasting. And also, we cover news all the time here at Right Side Broadcasting. We cover all kinds of breaking news and news stories. So if you enjoy our coverage, be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and click on the notifications bell so you get notifications about our broadcast. Found it very interesting that in Judge Roy Moore's victory speech, Steve Bannon came out. So I didn't even know Steve Bannon was still in town. So Steve Bannon, I guess, spent the night here. Well, maybe he spent the night here in Alabama. I would think he did. Or maybe he didn't. Maybe he went away and came back. But it was interesting to see Steve Bannon come out. And, and also, Judge Roy Moore did say, I support President Trump's agenda. So he was very supportive of President Trump. But I wonder, is this like extra sweet for Steve Bannon because he left / was let go of the administration, and some people saw him as too much of a populist to be in the administration. Obviously a lot of people on the left don't like Steve Bannon, and yet the candidate he supported won in this election against the candidate of President Trump. Not to say, I'm guessing he might still have a very good relationship with President Trump, but you might think this was extra sweet for Steve Bannon to have. This was like his big first public thing, I feel like. I mean, he did the 60 Minutes interview, but this was like his first public endeavor, like where he put himself on the line. And Roy Moore was favored anyway, but I'm just saying he might be extra sweet that Roy Moore won tonight in a very convincing fashion for Steve Bannon. So, but I'd like to hear what you have to say about all this. Enough of me talking. Let's see. Dar Smith writes, and I suggest all candidates against rhinos to contact Moore Senate. Moore will guide them. God opens doors and we walk through them. El Conservador says Corker pulled out after seeing weekend polls. More swamp creatures will pull out the next 60 days. Now, it is an interesting point. Senator Bob Corker from Tennessee did announce today he's not running in 2018. And I did see some comments. I can't remember. I have to go look at stuff again. But saying perhaps like he pulled out because he thought it might be a tough re-election campaign. But, you got to wonder, one thing is, did he pull out because he felt that there might have been it might have been tough for him because he might have had a tough challenge in the primary to the right of him. But also with Bob Corker, another question to be asked is, does tonight change that Senate race in Tennessee? Is Roy Moore winning in such convincing fashion tonight gonna make people more not establishment, more maybe social conservative on the farther right wing be more willing to jump into that Tennessee race, even if they don't have a lot of funding because of what Roy Moore did tonight? Hank Hill writes, and I think Bannon is going to change the face of Congress. He's on a mission. It proves the MAGA movement is far bigger than just Trump. Jimbo writes, Roy Moore won because he believes get right or with God or go to hell. Those candidates will win in 2018. Oh, and I believe Frankie P said we had a tweet from President Trump, so I want to show that to you. Let me see that and get that on the screen. We do have a tweet about the election from President Trump. Thank you, Frankie P. President Trump tweeted out, congratulations to Roy Moore on his Republican primary win in Alabama. Luther Strange started way back and ran a good race. Roy win in December. So President Trump is jumping on board. He may have endorsed Luther Strange, but he's already on board with with Roy Moore for December. And as I mentioned before, yeah, he did endorse Strange and not Moore, but because this was a primary runoff, even if Strange lost, President Trump was going to get the chance to endorse Roy Moore. He's got there's two and a half months until the election, or 3 months till the election. President Trump can even come and do a rally in Alabama if he wants. So I think, he's already getting on board and supporting Roy Moore. And Roy Moore already said supportive words about President Trump. So things seem okay with that relationship, at least for now. Dar Smith says, this is extra sweet for Donald J. Trump, what happened tonight. Eric Haynes says, I read national implications into this. Flake primary versus Kelly Ward in Arizona. She can beat him. This is a consequence of establishment Congress. Interesting thought. You think that part of what went on here was Congress not making changes that Republicans want, and they're reacting to that in this vote tonight. That's what you think, Eric. Let's see here. Bethany writes in, President Trump taught us well that the swamp must be drained. This trend will absolutely continue in 2018. Yes. Jimbo says candidates who embrace Christianity will win in 2018. Let's see. Reagan Better says Mitt Romney should challenge Senator Orrin Hatch in Utah. El Conservador says, now you will see Bannon/Gorka MAGA machine to get 10 plus Senate seats. Yes, and Sebastian Gorka and Sarah Palin did support Roy Moore in this election. Ronnie Mercer writes in 1, primary rhinos with pro-Trump candidates. 2, defeat Dems with pro-Trump candidates. 3, 2019 pass Trump's full agenda. Trump the winner says, this is the beginning. Democrats will never rule this nation again. Liberalism is a disease. God, Trump, and the USA is the cure. This is interesting. Marie, a.k.a. Kafefe, says, Republicans will win in 2018. I have family in Alabama, and they were on the fence. NFL protests pushed them over to more constitutionalist. So I do wonder if NFL protests might have had an effect on this election. It's certainly possible. Although, you know, it seems like a bit of a stretch if you say any one factor like that, like change the election, because, right now, Judge Moore is up by about 11%. So, I'd be reluctant to say any kind of factor in the last couple of days swung the election. It's a pretty significant victory. Coach says Bannon said more swamp creatures like Corker will pull out after this race. Elizabeth Luker just made a donation, $60. Elizabeth, I think that's your 5th donation tonight. We can't thank you enough. Elizabeth says, good Lord, I'm so happy tonight. What a race. If we have learned anything tonight, it's that we cannot be bought. 30 million to 2. What a sweet, sweet win. Thank you to all the patriots around the country for praying and supporting Moore. And I do think that bears worth repeating how much Roy Moore was outspent in this race. A lot of establishment money came in for Luther Strange. I mentioned I live in Alabama, and I saw on my TV, a number of the last few days, a number of Luther Strange ads and no Roy Moore ads. But Roy Moore, convincing victory tonight. If you have comments, write to me on Twitter at Lookner. This is Right Side Broadcasting. We are covering the election, and just to give you the latest election voting numbers, with 89% of the precincts in, Roy Moore is up by 12%. That's a significant lead, significant victory for Roy Moore. He's up by 12% with 89% of the precincts in. Now, I just want to sort of interested in checking Birmingham here. Jefferson County, still a bunch of votes to come in Jefferson County, but and that's going more for Strange, but it's still going to be a significant lead. And now we have 92% of the precincts in, and Roy Moore is up by 11.6%. So it looks like we're going to get somewhere in the 10, 11, 12% range victory for Roy Moore here. Significant victory. You're watching Right Side Broadcasting, and what was I going to say? Feel free to follow us on Facebook and subscribe to us on YouTube. We do, and click the notifications bell when you subscribe to us on YouTube. We do all kinds of breaking news videos. We were on today covering the Bob Corker retiring and saying he's not going to run in 2018. We were covering the Saudi Arabia announcing that they were going to let women drive. We spent a couple hours covering the arrests in college basketball with college basketball coaches, the corruption scandal there. So we really come on at all hours and cover the news. And we focus on political news, of course, but we cover a lot of news. So subscribe to us on YouTube if you want to check us out, and click the notifications bell. Unseen One says, the GOP establishment is paying the price for stalling the MAGA agenda for the last 8 months. I doubt they can save themselves now. So a number of you think that this Roy Moore victory is in part because people are unhappy with the GOP Congress for not doing enough, and they're choosing an anti-establishment candidate. Remember, Mitch McConnell supported Luther Strange, and the establishment Republicans supported Luther Strange. If you have comments, by the way, write to me on Twitter, at Lookner, at Lookner. Hut CB47 writes, good to see more win. Are you tired of winning? Not yet. We wanted more. Laramie Crocker says, MAGA, grassroots should send dollars to MAGA candidates. Look how much money Bernie raised. We can do this and get Trumpism going again. Jimbo says, cultural Marxism is on trial and they lost. Roy Moore, the 10 Commandments guy, wins by over 10 points. Coincidence? Central Florida for Trump says, what does this say? B. Nelson was missing in action at Florida Hurricane. Scott will beat him easily if he runs. We are helping. Moore win pretends CHRI concert take of, a Christian conservative take of GOP establishment. I see what you're saying. Dar Smith says, Steve, can you tell me how Clay County did? All right, for you, I'll do it. I'm not going to do this for every county because it'll take forever. If I can find a map. If not, I can't tell you how they did because I'm not going to look at all the counties. I think it's right over here. Let's see. Clay County was 57.5% for Moore and 42.5% for Luther Strange. Pete Tudsbury writes in, I pray for God to protect Roy Moore and his family. Do senatorial candidates get Secret Service protection? I don't believe they get Secret Service protection. I'm sure there's security for them, but not Secret Service protection. That would, I think, be only for national candidates and in the national election. Well, no, but this is a national election, but I don't believe that Senate candidates get Secret Service protection. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's see here. Reagan Better said, did you vote for Moore in Auburn? How come you didn't go live at the polls? Well, first of all, as I've said, several people asked who I voted for in Alabama. I don't talk about that. We don't talk about that on the air because we're agenda free here at Right Side Broadcasting. So we don't want to tell you what to think. So my vote, I'm keeping my vote private. I did vote today though. How come you didn't go live at the polls? Well, first of all, that would be technically very challenging. We're actually a very...
Steve won't tell you who he voted for, but I'll tell you who I voted for. I voted for Judge Roy Moore, and this is Joe Seals. You can take that and quote me.
The polls. So it would have been a whole big thing having to get that done, and that's one of these things. Maybe one day when we're this huge network, although I don't like the idea of us being a huge network. I kind of like that we're kind of small and we can do what we want. But maybe one day we'll be able to do that kind of thing. But we couldn't do it today. Let's see here. We have Ditch Mitch Dump Ryan writes in, Roy Moore victory is a referendum against Mitch McConnell in the swamp. Less government, more God. Noah Velez writes in, looks like we just keep on winning. Happy to see Moore win and Strange lose. So a bunch of you are happy about this. We're going to be on a few more minutes here. If you have any comments you want me to read on the air, get them in soon. Write to me on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner. Also, thank you so much everybody who's donated tonight. We really, really appreciate that. I'm not lying when I say without your donations, we literally would not be on the air. Your donations are what keep us on the air. So if you've enjoyed our coverage tonight, even small donations really help us, believe it or not. So everything helps. If you've enjoyed our coverage tonight, please consider making a donation. Very easy. You can go to the YouTube chat right next to the broadcast and click on the $sign that's right next to the broadcast. Right next to the YouTube. Sorry, the $sign is in the bottom of the YouTube chat, which is right next to the broadcast. Also, you can go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate, and if you want like right side gear like this mug, we actually have a thing at rsbn.tv/donate where we give you stuff in exchange for making a monthly donation. You can find out about that at rsbn.tv/donate. Oh, and in case anybody wants a right side t-shirt, they're actually kind of nice. I have some. Right side t-shirts you can get at teepublic.com, teepublic.com. I'll show you the website real quick. See, if you want a right side t-shirt, you go to TeePublic, T-E-E Public, and you go there and you search for RSBN, and it comes up. You get to Right Side Broadcasting, and you click, and there's T-shirts, and there's long sleeve shirts, and there's baseball shirts and crew necks and hoodies and kids T-shirts and notebooks and mugs and all that kind of stuff too that you can buy there, and stickers. That's at TeePublic, and search for RSBN. All right, I should talk about that. Like once a month, I remember to talk about that, and I should talk about that more because often people will ask and talk about where can we get these Right Side shirts. So I apologize for not talking about it more. Okay, let me see here. I also wanted to do a quick check and just see if there was like feedback out there in the media about this. Sorry, I'm just peeking over some different sources here. I saw people post about it earlier, so I do think there are going to be people in the media. So as I've said before, don't be surprised if you turn on like CNN or MSNBC and someone's saying this is a great big embarrassment for Trump or something, because there are certain people out there who will take any kind of angle that can be negative toward President Trump and make a big deal out of it. So I'm guessing you'll see some of that. I don't know what the general amount of commentary is going to be like because I haven't been watching, because we've been here. Rob Edmond writes in, we just showed the Washington establishment that this is a movement of ideas, not just one man, Trump. And it is interesting that, that a lot of people who supported Trump, they did go with Roy Moore. And I think somebody wrote in saying something like this shows that like people don't blindly support Trump. And you're saying that here too, Rob Edmond saying that. You're saying, look, when it came down to it, people didn't just vote for somebody because Trump endorsed them. They voted on basis of ideas, and they thought Roy Moore had the better ideas of the two candidates, those who voted for him. Let's see here. Dump Ryan says, well, Jimbo says, you bet this is a kick in the yin-yang to Mitch and Rye Guy. The handwriting is on the wall. And Ditch Mitch Dump Ryan says, damn right it is. Trump never would have backed Luther Strange. That was Mitch McConnell working deals. Every Trump associate backed Moore. And let's see here. Yassine, Patriot of Truth, writes in, great background. Thank you. We like this background too. Appreciate it. Thank Joe for that. Joe got that. Joe was responsible for that background. Love all your work. Steve. The best journalist I've ever seen by far. Well, thank you, Yassine. That's very nice of you. Hold on a second. Oh my gosh, I didn't even know this. I just heard from Joe, our CEO, RSBN fidget spinners will be available in mid-October. Huh, I want an RSBN fidget spinner. Joe, I want one. So RSBN fidget spinners will be available in mid-October. That's good to know. And let me show you the updated vote numbers here. What did I do? Oh, I'll go back to them. So we now have 93% of the precincts reporting. Oops. Roy Moore is up by, okay, so it's gotten a little closer. We expected this might happen as some more of the urban areas, the more populous counties came in. So with 93% of the vote in, Roy Moore is up by 9.4%. We'll see, maybe it'll end up a little closer. Maybe it'll end up, 7 or 8% at the end here. With Birmingham and Jefferson County, they still have a bunch of votes to come in. But right now it's a 9.4% lead for Roy Moore, the projected winner. Also, there's some other counties that haven't come in yet. So I'm just looking down here. I don't know where these counties where nobody's reporting from, where those are, what the deal with those are. But it looks like there just are not enough votes on the table there for Luther Strange to catch up. Oops. Eric Haynes says that Jeff Flake is losing by double figures to Kelly Ward, who has similar endorsements as Roy Moore did tonight. I'm not familiar with those polling numbers in Arizona, but that will be a race to watch next year, that primary race in early next year. Steve McGee writes in, Moore's victory will definitely have a national impact on 2018 elections. Kelly Ward will beat Flake in Arizona. We did see a lot of Kelly Ward enthusiasm when we were at the President Trump rally in Phoenix about a month ago. There was a lot of Kelly Ward enthusiasm there. Oh, did Mike Pence tweet out? Let's see. I think Pete Tudsbury said Mike Pence might have tweeted out. Let me see. Yes, Mike Pence tweets out. Congratulations, Roy Moore. We are thrilled for you. We are thrilled you ran on the MAGA agenda, and we are for you. So tweets from both President Trump and Mike Pence supporting Roy Moore tonight. Thanks, Pete Tusbury, for letting me know. Central Florida for Trump says, does polling industry gain back any credibility? Well, the last polls I saw were around an 8% lead, and it looks right now the lead's about 9%. So perhaps, I don't think the polling, in that election, in the presidential election, the polls were off in certain states, but nationally the percentages weren't so far off. I think a lot of the commentators' predictions were off, but I don't think the polling industry was totally just totally wrecked last year. But there were some significant questions raised. But they do seem to be in this one pretty close to what happened in the actual election. And I'm just checking here. Okay, I think in a couple minutes we are going to wrap up this stream because, most of the votes are in now. 93% reporting. There you go. Roy Moore ahead, the projected winner. We've already heard from Roy Moore, and we heard from Luther Strange. Hang on one sec here, guys. So, we really appreciate you guys joining us tonight for our coverage. It's been a pleasure bringing it to you. And I know, because I checked a couple times, the mainstream media was not doing live continuous coverage of this. And we thought this was really important tonight. We wanted to come on and give you continuous coverage and live coverage of this event. It's a big occurrence. A lot of people out there care about it. And we're glad we were able to give you a place to go to watch coverage of it. And if you like the coverage, please consider donating in the future, because we can only be on the air tonight because you've donated to us. We're a viewer-supported network. We're very small, and your donations are what pay our expenses and keep us on the air. So we really appreciate all your donations. So many people were so generous tonight with donating, and it's really nice of you. So thank you so much. If you'd like to donate, you can always go to the YouTube chat room on our broadcasts and click on the $sign at the bottom of the chat room, or go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. Also, a big thank you to the chat moderators who were working so hard tonight. So many people were posting comments in the chat room, both here and on the website, and so we really are so thankful to have those great chat moderators there. And also everybody who wrote in so much. A big part of our coverage here is that we hear from you, and we hear what you have to say about things, you the viewers. And so many of you wrote in tonight and shared what you were thinking with us. We really are grateful for that. And also, let's see. I also want to say, we do, to remind you, we do coverage all the time of different news events. So if you haven't yet, subscribe to us on YouTube and click the notifications bell so you find out. You'll get a notification whenever we come on the air to cover breaking news. We do it all the time, day, night, morning, evening, whenever. Sometimes really early in the morning we do it, if we're awake when news happens, which happens a lot, actually. So, and you can follow us on Facebook at Right Side Broadcasting, and on Twitter we're at RSB Network. And I cover breaking news a lot on my Twitter. I'm at Lookner, so if you like breaking news, follow me on Twitter, because I'll post a lot about it. And let's see here. I'm just checking a couple other things. And thank you so much, Joe Seals. Amazing job producing. Joe is the creator of Right Side. He's the CEO, but also he's an amazing producer. We had all these different shots going on tonight and graphics, and Joe just did an unbelievable job. It looks, you might think we have this whole staff of people here. Joe was producing tonight, so shout out to Joe for an amazing producing job. Thanks also so thanks, Joe, and thanks for everybody who wrote in with news tips. We appreciate that too. And what else? I think I've been thanking people. Maybe I've hit everybody I wanted to thank. So many people to thank. So we really appreciate all of you people. And thanks just for watching. Everybody who watched. We really appreciate you guys joining us for this. It's we don't just do this for ourselves. We do this because we want to cover these things with you and bring these things to you. So we appreciate when people watch. And all the moderators, again, I'm looking at the YouTube chat right now. JC, Chris, who else? People have been in there all night, so there's probably like a rotating cast of them. So I'm seeing JC and Chris right now. And Jake Seals, all your help, as usual, with the broadcast. Thank you. And Tom O'Neill just made a donation. Tom just gave $10 and said, congratulations, Fidget Spinners fans, and to Judge Roy Moore. They're both hot. RSBN rocks. Thank you, Tom. Very much appreciated. So we'll be on, this week covering more news. We'll cover President Trump's speeches and the White House press briefings. We'll cover those. Other breaking news, we'll be on the air covering it. If you watch us, we cover all kinds of breaking news. So we hope you keep joining us here at Right Side Broadcasting. And we'll see what happens in the general election. But for now, it looks like Judge Roy Moore is in a very good position to be the next senator from Alabama. So I am Steve Lookner. This is Right Side Broadcasting. Again, we really appreciate you guys joining us tonight and participating in the broadcast and your donations and everything else. I'll just keep saying thank you all night. So I'm going to stop myself right now. But it's been really fun covering this with you guys, and we'll definitely do it again, as we do for lots of elections and all kinds of breaking news. But for now, I am Steve Lookner. For all of us, did I say on Twitter you can follow us at RSB Network? I think I forgot to say that. Anyways, thank you guys so much. It's been fun doing this with you, and appreciate all of your input tonight to the broadcast and you all watching. So, and congratulations to Judge Roy Moore, for winning the primary. So I am Steve Lookner. This is Right Side Broadcasting. For me, for Joe, for Jake, for everybody at Right Side. Have a great night. And we will see you soon, covering more news for you in an agenda-free way here at Right Side Broadcasting. Have a good one.
Hey, you thought this stream was over. This is Joe. I am not ending the stream yet. A few thank yous on my end. I hope you enjoyed the new graphics tonight. I worked hard to try to put them together for this event. We are going to continue to get better. We're going to continue to grow. And I appreciate all of you tuning in. Steve did an excellent job tonight. And, all of us here, just thank you all so much for your support. I want to also thank Breitbart. We kind of partnered up tonight. They actually ran our coverage on their Facebook page and up on Breitbart. So we want to thank Breitbart for being so good to us tonight. Thanks to all the hard work by the staff, this staff of 3 here, and also Liz and Margaret. If you're out there watching, we can't wait to have another rally so you can join us sooner. Join us. So I gotta go because Steve's calling me, but y'all have a great night. God bless, and good night.